You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2593, Chapter 2593, Chapter 556 Genius and Madman. Seek's monthly pass, last 2 hours, L. Chapter 2593, Chapter 556 Genius and Madman. Seek's monthly pass, last 2 hours, L. Pan Hu and Tian Ding were robbed. At this moment, Suyu escaped and couldn't help but curse, "Those are mine." Sid. Modwa took 2 of my fat meat, I'm not done with him. What do you want from me? Suyu made a judgment, what did Modwa want from him? He thought for a moment and decided that it had to do with the Demon Emperor. Otherwise, even if his father was going to die, Modwa wouldn't ask for his help. Together to deal with the Demon Emperor? You really think too highly of me. Also, you brought along a quasi-invincible person. What are you thinking when you ask me to join hands with you to kill him? I am Ling Yun, you are mountain and sea. Good fellow, the 2 of us are preparing to join hands to kill quasi-invincible. I am Suyu Kwang, and you, Modwa, are even more arrogant than me. I am crazy, I have the capital, 360 apertures, 72 body forges, the cultivation of the heavenly cycle technique, and tens of divine inscriptions. You, Modwa, what are you crazy about? Suyu cursed in his heart. As for Modwa asking him to meet, Suyu thought about it. He wasn't worried that Modwa would kill him. This fellow had quasi-invincible and didn't even make a move. The possibility of Modwa using outsiders to kill him wasn't high. Although he was an enemy, he was still a genius. He was a little proud. Unless Suyu killed that kind of old man, he didn't seem to have asked for help when he killed others. Even if he killed an old man, his first thought was to do it himself. He rarely thought of asking someone else to do it. Unless there was really no other way. For example, those invincible, those half-emperors, and damn it. The difference was too big. If someone blew you to death with a breath, how would you struggle? With these thoughts in his mind, Suyu was too lazy to say anything. Very soon, he activated his civilized will and absorbed all the corpses in the storage ring. The treasures were all with Pan Hu and the others. Forget it, Suyu didn't care too much. Pan Hu is lost. I'll go look for Dao Qing. Can I bluff him? Suyu thought to himself, forget it. Let's go look for him first. Tai He, Dao Qing. 9th level of the Sun Moon. In Prince Gong's residence. With the arrival of the Star Moon, it was possible for him to open his yang aperture. However, once he opened it, he would have too much death chi. It would be too easy for him to be exposed, and he would not be able to stop the operation of his yang aperture. It's not easy to kill Tai He. Even if I open my yang aperture, I'm only at the initial 9th level of the Sun Moon. I don't have any quasi-invincible blood essence. Otherwise, I might be able to devour a bit of quasi-invincible blood essence and destroy Tai He. These thoughts flashed through Suyu's mind. If it didn't work, he would have to kill Dao Qing first. If he kept this guy alive, he would definitely be a disaster in the future. Suyu was not in the mood to play any cultivation games. It was meaningless. It was better to leave this thing to those old guys. The old guys had too much free time. Prince Gong's residence. Suyu made a decision. He would go to Prince Gong's residence. That trash, he too, had yet to attack. He was a big trash, a piece of trash. He had helped him to shake the 7th level for no reason, and he did not know when he would be able to attack. While he was at it, he would go check out the bottom line and take a look at the 9-leaf sky lotus. With countless thoughts in his mind, Suyu quickly flew towards Prince Gong's residence. Prince Gong's residence. It was a very large residence with many houses and courtyards. In the past, this was the residence of a human king. There were countless soldiers, generals, and marquises under his command. This place also had some office space. Although it was called a prince's residence, in reality, it was a large-scale office. At this moment, in the prince's residence, Dao Cheng and Tai He had gathered a few immortal geniuses and experts. They had gathered together to search for treasures. Those who dared to come to the imperial residence were either geniuses or experts. Those who were slightly weaker did not dare to come and seek death. At that moment, Xian Wuji was among them. A group of people was forcefully opening a small courtyard. A few geniuses were in charge of opening it, and a few experts were in charge of protecting Dao. This small courtyard had been opened before, but after 10 years, the restrictive spells would automatically open again. At this moment, the few geniuses didn't open it with brute force. Instead, they relied on their eyesight to find flaws and used the smallest amount of strength to open these restrictions. When Xian Wuji saw Dao Cheng casually tap and break a node, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Dao Cheng, your deductive method is getting more and more refined." Nearby, there were also a few other geniuses who looked over. These people were almost all geniuses on the heaven hunting list. Including Dao Cheng and Xian Wuji, there were 6 men and 2 women. There were 8 geniuses on the heaven hunting list, and many of them had died. Gu Zhu and the others that Su Yu had killed were also geniuses on the heaven hunting list. Now that they had all died, there were more than 40 geniuses on the heaven hunting list from the celestial race this time. There were less than 15 who survived. This place was the most elite. Xian Wuji and Dao Cheng were both on the heaven roll. The other 6, 4 on the earth roll, 2 on the Xian roll, and the yellow roll didn't allow them to play. Seeing Dao Cheng easily break a node, the 2 female immortals' eyes lit up. They had some admiration. As for whether it was true or not, it was hard to say. However, the 2 female immortals knew that the Dao King lineage was in the most difficult period right now. It was better to send help in the snow than to add flowers to the icing on the cake. Moreover, Jiu Xian was dead, and Dao Cheng didn't have a Dao partner now. A lean camel was bigger than a horse. No matter how unlucky the Dao King lineage was, it was true that they were a top-notch existence with 7 eternal breaks. At this moment, one of the silver-haired female immortals had a gentle smile on her face as she looked at Dao Cheng with eyes full of admiration. Brother Dao Cheng's divination technique is getting more and more powerful. He seeks advantages and avoids disadvantages, knows good and bad, breaks yin and yang, determines life and death. He has received the Dao King's true teachings. Some people snickered in their hearts. The Dao King's true teachings. Even the Dao King himself did not expect that he would be in big trouble this time. His 3 lives would be destroyed. The divination technique was not considered a minor Dao. However, it was not to the extent of saying that it was a major Dao. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2594, Chapter 2594, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Madmen. 10,000 plus monthly pass, last 2 hours, 2. Chapter 2594, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Madmen. 10,000 plus monthly pass, last 2 hours, 2. Of course, the old turtle was too strong. It was normal for Dao King to not be able to tell. However, this time, it was really embarrassing. 3 generations of his body had been destroyed by the old turtle. Now, he was in a miserable state. They did not know if he could recover. They were thinking in their hearts. Dao Cheng did not care about this. He smiled at the silver-haired female immortal and looked at the small courtyard in front of him. He said softly, "This small courtyard is quite important. It might be the place where the descendants of King Gong lived in the past." The silver-haired female immortal felt a joy in her heart, but she did not reveal it. At this moment, after hearing this, she quickly added with a smile, "My ancestor gave me a simple introduction. This is Bright Heart Courtyard. It is indeed the place where the descendants of King Gong lived. According to the records, it might be the place where He-Tu's grandfather lived. When these words were said, some people did not know and were a little surprised. Silver Moon, He-Tu, is it related to King Gong? The silver-haired female immortal was secretly happy, but she didn't show it. Erudite said, yes, this is the record of the first title change. Coincidentally, I have some information at home. River Map is actually King Gong's fifth-generation grandson, He-Tu's father. Back then, he roamed the heavens, and when the Great Change came, King Gong's mansion was completely destroyed. Only He-Tu's father survived. However, He-Tu's father's talent is limited. He has been stuck at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm and hasn't reached the Tao. When He-Tu was young, he was already extremely talented, but he remained at the 1000 June realm and cultivated for more than 10 years. At that time, he had the bloodline of a human king, and was only of the 5th generation. His bloodline was very rich, and it was impossible for him not to be able to enter the myriad rocks soaring into the sky. He must have been cultivating a peerless cultivation technique. The silver-haired fairy gave a brief introduction. Even the sun and moon behind her did not know about these secrets. They were strong, but it did not mean that they knew much. Most of these geniuses were invincible descendants. On the contrary, because of their family background, they knew a lot. Some of their ancestors were old men during the first title change. On the immortal side, after experiencing 9 title changes, many people died. However, they were better than the humans. There were still some old men who survived, including Tiangu, who had truly lived from ancient times until now. Knowing that this was the courtyard of King Gong's descendant, everyone became even more interested. Even though they had been inspected countless times. These people were about to continue when someone suddenly shouted, "Who?" An expert's eyes widened as he looked in a certain direction. His eyes were filled with killing intent. In the distance, outside a courtyard wall, Suyu was trembling with fear. His face was filled with anxiety as he looked over. The expressions of the few immortal experts changed slightly. On the other side, Dao Cheng's expression also changed instantly as he looked at Suyu. He hurriedly transmitted his voice, "Why are you here?" Suyu did not say anything. He did not come over from afar. He hid there with the expression of a child who had done something wrong and refused to come over. He was furious. On the other side, Dao Cheng frowned slightly and looked at the others. He smiled and said, "It's my senior brother. I'll go and take a look. Senior brother might be looking for me for something. Then go and busy yourself." The few of them smiled and were a little puzzled. Why was Ling Heng here? The 3rd level of the sun and moon. It was too dangerous here. In the corner, Dao Cheng and He came together. When He saw them, he shouted, "Where's Pan Hu? I told you not to come here. Why are you here?" "Uncle Master, stop talking." Dao Cheng interrupted him and looked at Ling Heng. He smiled and said, "Senior brother, is something the matter?" Suyu lowered his head and looked like he wanted to say something, but he hesitated. He couldn't bear it. "If you have something to say, just say it. You always have this character, and when it comes to the critical moment, you always dawdle and dawdle. What's the matter?" Suyu was about to cry. He hummed and said in a low voice, that I'm sorry to His Highness. Senior brother Pan Hu, maybe. I don't know if he's dead. He's expression changed. Dao Cheng's expression also changed slightly. He looked at Suyu and said in a low voice, "Senior brother, don't be nervous. Tell me, what happened?" Suyu hesitated. He was so angry that Dao Cheng, who had such a good temper, wanted to hit someone. This senior brother of his was always like this at critical moments. He was never-ending. Annoying. No wonder even though Pan Hu was already at the 7th level of the Sun-Moon, he was still at the third level of the Sun-Moon. Su Yu said, We came out together. Senior brother Pan Hu said, that it was too difficult to find treasures, so we went to find Elder Tian Ding of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. After that, we went to hunt down the geniuses of the small clans and the ancient clans. This was normal. The two of them didn't seem to have any abnormalities. Su Yu continued, after that. Everything was fine before. Just before that, we just made a huge profit. Suddenly, we met with trouble. Senior brother Pan Hu and Elder Tian Ding seemed to have met with trouble. Seemed to have. Su Yu said awkwardly, that. I was too scared, so I ran away first. The two of them encountered an expert behind them. It was a quasi-invincible expert. Yes, a quasi-invincible expert. Then. There was nothing after that. I came here. I don't know if they're dead or not. Quasi-invincible. Dao Qing frowned. Do you know who it was? Su Yu lowered his head. That. I don't know, but I saw someone. Dao Qing couldn't hold it in any longer. What the F***ck are you talking about? You're so slow. Do you know? Su Yu whispered, Modwa na. D. I don't know if I'm seeing things. When I was running, Modwa na seemed to have chased me for a moment. Then, he stopped chasing me. It seemed like he let me run on purpose. I don't know if he followed me here. Your Highness, I have no choice. I don't know what to do. I could only come to Prince Gong's residence to look for your Highness. He might be following us now. The color of the road changes. Mordona. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2595, Chapter 2595, Chapter 556 Genius and Madman. Asks for a monthly pass, last 2 hours, 3. Chapter 2595, Chapter 556 Genius and Madman. Asks for a monthly pass, last 2 hours, 3. Why did Modwa want to kill Pan Hu and Tian Ding? Tai he could not help but curse in a low voice, how dare he kill Pan Hu? Su Yu hurriedly said, he probably didn't die. I took a look and saw that there was no sign of the sun and moon crashing. He might have been captured alive. Is he trying to negotiate with us? He looked at Tai He and said nervously, Senior uncle, this time. I didn't mean to run. But I feel that at least one of us should have survived to inform His Highness. I didn't mean to run. Really, I didn't mean to run. He was extremely afraid. To run away before a battle was intolerable for any race. Tai He's face was dark. Dao Qing comforted him, it's okay. Senior brother is only sending himself to his death by staying. The other party is almost invincible. It's a wise choice for senior brother to leave first. Su Yu's face was a little awkward. No, I'm not like what your Highness said, but I really didn't have the intention to give up senior brother Pan Hu. But at that time, I really had no choice. Your Highness, Martial Uncle, PM really not afraid of death. PM just afraid that your Highness doesn't know the news and will be plotted against by Modwa. It's true. Tai he was speechless. What are you still struggling for? You're just afraid, that's why you ran away. He frowned and couldn't be bothered to argue with him. Now that there were fewer and fewer people from the Dao King lineage, punishing Ling Heng would be useless. Moreover, when he encountered quasi-invincible, it would be useless for him to stay. The 2 7th-level Sun-Moon cultivators had been captured. Just as Ling Heng had said, at least they knew the news now. Otherwise, they wouldn't know that something had happened. Tai He glared at Su Yu fiercely. The sun and moon rotated in his eyes as he looked into the distance. There was no one around. He frowned and looked at Dao Qing. Your Highness, what does Modwa want to do? Dao Qing did not reply and continued to play with the divine script in his hand. Su Yu was a little curious as to what he was playing with. This fellow often saw him playing with the divine script. After he finished playing, Dao Cheng's face suddenly turned pale. The divine script in his hand exploded and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He said in a low voice, ominous sign. Martial uncle, senior brother, don't bother about it. This is fate. We will take revenge for senior brother Pan whose matter sooner or later, not now. Modwa doesn't have long to live. There's no need to fight with him now. Su Yu hurriedly nodded. Tai He's expression changed. He looked at Su Yu and glared at him once again. Your behavior is too obvious. Su Yu felt somewhat helpless and lowered his head. Senior uncle, he has quasi-invincible backing. Unless we can also shout quasi-invincible, but who would be willing to offend Modwa for us? He was someone the demon emperor valued and was a candidate for his future body. Senior uncle, the demon kings of the demon race might be watching right now. If we fight with him, even immortal King Xian he wouldn't stand up for us on the immortal side. Su Yu said sincerely, Uncle Master, forget it. Senior brother Pan Hu and I have a good relationship, but His Highness is the most important. If something happens to you, what about His Highness? I don't have a relationship with him and I'm willing to fight, but my strength is too weak. Tai He was tired. Alright, do you dare to go? If you dare, you won't run away. Su Yu was embarrassed. Uncle Master, I. Shut up. Tai He snorted and looked at Dao Qing. Your Highness, then. You really don't care. Dao Qing was silent for a moment. Uncle Master, we can't care. Senior brother Pan Hu may not be dead, but we can't care. We can't rescue him. Su Yu hurriedly said, yes, we can look for the heaven hunting pavilion. Tian Ding has been captured too. Don't even think about it. Dao Qing shook his head. The head of the heaven department is at the passageway. He won't fight to the death with the demons just for an elder. Su Yu felt extremely regretful, but he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. This attitude made Tai He even angrier. He had dropped the ball at a critical moment. Of course, he knew that Ling Heng was afraid of him and that he was almost invincible. However, this fellow was always dragging his feet. Once he was in a life-and-death situation, he was afraid of death. If he ran away this time and left Pan Hu behind, would he dare to attack him in the next crisis? It was a headache. Nothing happened to this fellow, but something happened to Pan Hu. It made people speechless. Soon, the three of them returned to the place where they had been. Seeing Dao Cheng's expressionless face, Tai He was a little angry. Ling Heng kept his head down and couldn't help but smile. What's wrong? If there's trouble, you can tell us. We're all on the same side. There's no need to be polite. Dao Qing smiled. It's nothing. We've wasted everyone's time. Just as he said that, Su Yu hurriedly said, Your Highness Xian Wuji, Modwa provoked our immortal race. He killed my senior brother Pan Hu. Dao Qing frowned and turned to look at Su Yu. Su Yu, on the other hand, had a worried look on his face. He sent a voice transmission. Your Highness, let them fight to the death with Modwa. PM worried that Modwa is watching us. If we don't go, let Xian Wuji and the others find Modwa. Dao Qing was speechless. Did you think Xian Wuji was a fool? Would he go? When Xian Wuji heard Modwa's name, he was indeed a little awkward. He smiled and said, Senior brother Ling Heng, Modwa has never had any dealings with us, right? Is it? Su Yu hurriedly said, It's true. It's Modwa. He brought a quasi-invincible and killed my senior brother. And he even said such arrogant words. The immortals are all trash. Xian Wuji's face darkened. It wasn't directed at Maudwa Na, but at Su Yu. Go to hell. Maudwa Na couldn't say that. You're too good at adding fuel to the fire. Su Yu didn't care and said loudly, it's true. The quasi-invincible he brought scolded us and said that we immortals are all trash. We can't defeat them. Any random demon can destroy us, destroy the heaven roll, and destroy everyone. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2596, Chapter 2596, Chapter 556, Geniuses and Madmen. Asks for a monthly pass, last 2 hours, 4. Chapter 2596, Chapter 556, Geniuses and Madmen. Asks for a monthly pass, last 2 hours, 4. The other geniuses couldn't hold it in any longer. A young man said faintly, Senior Lingheng, don't spout nonsense. Su Yu cursed in his heart. What nonsense? Nonsense. I'll let you all know that it's nonsense, but without any evidence, I can't just ignore it. I've already humiliated you all like this. Even if everyone knows that it's nonsense, at the very least, I have to confront Maudwa and interrogate him. Otherwise, the immortals will lose all face. Everyone knew what Su Yu was thinking, but Xian Wuji's mouth was cheap. He had to ask this question. This time, Xian Wuji was also in a difficult position. He felt a little depressed. What a good Lingheng. Could he be from a Taoist sect? This question was really not easy to answer. I asked, Lingheng said, and you don't care? Well, the immortals are really shameless. You care. Maudwa was not to be trifled with. Damn it. Xian Wuji was cursing dead spirit Heng in his heart. He was also cursing himself. If Dao Qing did not say anything, he had to ask something. Dao Qing frowned slightly and quickly said, Senior brother, don't talk nonsense. You and senior brother Panhu went to provoke Maudwa out of the blue. You've been taught a lesson. Don't come back and add fuel to the fire. He still didn't want to go and find trouble with Maudwa. It was dangerous. He had sensed this ominous sign. It was very dangerous. Even if Xian Wuji and the others would help, he didn't want to go. Su Yu, on the other hand, had a depressed expression and said in a low voice, Your Highness, you're right. It's me. I was blind. Sorry, Your Highness, please forgive me. Maudwa didn't say that. I did it on purpose. At this moment, Xian Wuji couldn't ignore it. He was the current leader of the immortal clan, so he could only ask, something happened to senior brother. Panhu? Su Yu said gloomily, yes, he was captured by Maudwa. I don't know if he was killed. The immortal clan and the demon clan don't interfere with each other. Why did Maudwa Na find trouble for no reason? Xian Wuji frowned and said, Senior brother Lingheng, don't worry. Since I know, I won't ignore it. I will negotiate with Mo Duo Na. Su Yu hurriedly said, just ask him to let my senior brother go. Xian Wuji's heart was tired. F***ck. I don't want to provoke Mo Duo Na. It's fine if Mo Duo Na lets him go, but if he doesn't let him go, it would be too embarrassing. He also didn't want to start a war. Now, he was a little forced into a corner. What a cheap mouth. Why did he have to interrupt? He cursed at himself and Su Yu for a while. Lingheng deliberately wanted him to stand up for himself. What a headache. But now, there were still many geniuses around him. He wanted to be a leader. If he didn't stand up now, would these young generation fellows submit to him? Submit my A**s. Xian Wuji regained his smile and said, of course. How about this, we'll go find him now. Dao Qing frowned and said, Brother Wuji, the mansion hasn't been opened yet. There's no rush. Xian Wuji smiled and said, it's not like we can lose it. They had already been scouted countless times in the courtyard. If there were good treasures, it wouldn't be our turn anymore. Let's go meet Modwa. Did that fellow really think he was number one in the heavens? So what if he brought along a quasi-invincible person? Let's go meet him. His tone was imposing, but he called for everyone to come together. Let's go together. Of the 8 geniuses, the Tao protectors were all very strong. There were 6 at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, and the remaining 2, one was quasi-invincible, and the other was trash at the 8th level of the Sun-Moon realm. They were considered the weakest. With the addition of the 8 geniuses and Su Yu, there were 17 experts. Modwa had always been a lone wolf. It wasn't like he didn't have one quasi-invincible. When he said he wanted to go, Su Yu's expression changed. He hurriedly said, "Your Highness, be careful. Modwa is unreasonable and unreasonable. I will guard this courtyard and not let anyone else enter." F***ck. At this moment, Dao Cheng was convinced. Xian Wuji had no choice but to go because of you. Yet, you didn't want to go. This senior brother of his must have been scared out of his wits, right? Embarrassing. He also felt embarrassed and shouted telepathically, "Shut up. If you want to go, you have to go. Lingheng, do you think that I won't teach you a lesson here? You've completely embarrassed the Dao King lineage." Su Yu had a helpless look on his face and quickly said himself, "Forget it, let's leave this courtyard here. PLL go with the other princes and confront Modwa face to face." Only then did Xian Wuji feel relieved. He also snorted in his heart. This fellow had forced us to go. What was he thinking if he didn't want to go? Su Yu was embarrassed, but he didn't care. He walked to Dao Cheng's side, he transmitted his voice, "Your Highness, let them go. We'll find an opportunity to leave later. I think Modwa isn't quite right. He might be targeting Your Highness. Your Highness, did you offend him or have any connections with?" Dao Cheng did not care about this anymore. It was better to go and take a look. With Xian Wuji and the others around, it was better to be safe. Otherwise, if Modwa really wanted to target him alone, it would be troublesome on his side. Hearing Su Yu's words, he also transmitted his voice, offending him, "That shouldn't be the case, right? Xian Wuji and I have offended Zhan Wushuang, and it has nothing to do with Modwa. Modwa's arrogance also rarely comes into contact with us, speaking of connections." He frowned. Could it have something to do with my divine runes? What was Modwa trying to do? Forget it. These things needed to be clarified by himself. It was also good to go and take a look. At this moment, Xian Wuji said with a smile, "Lingheng, do you know where?" Su Yu shook his head, "I'm not sure. He definitely isn't at that place before. As for the exact location, I don't know either." Xian Wuji really wanted to say that since he didn't know, then forget it. But he couldn't say it out loud. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2597, Chapter 2597, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Lunatics. Seek's monthly pass, last 2 hours, 5. Chapter 2597, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Lunatics. Seek's monthly pass, last 2 hours, 5. Xian Wuji pretended to be calm and said, "It's okay. Modwa is not a person who hides his whereabouts. Go and ask him. Someone will know where he is. Ask him to talk." Su Yu did not say anything. "You were the one who wanted to go. I did not ask you to go. Let's fight. Let's fight. If we kill one, we will lose one. Everyone here is dead. I will collect your corpses. One of them is almost invincible, 6 of them are at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, and one of them is at the 8th level of the Sun-Moon realm. It shouldn't be difficult to kill that one over there, right? It would be best if you kill Modwa as well. That guy knows my identity. PM just afraid that he'll expose me on the spot, that'll be troublesome. Forget it, forget it. I should inform Modwa so that he doesn't really die and expose me before he dies. In fact, Xian Wuji and the others probably wouldn't dare to kill him either. He had a frequency left behind by Modwa. It was a special frequency for small-scale communication. In fact, the effect was average. It wasn't even as good as Invincible's roar. However, it was enough here. Soon, Suyu tried to send a message in his Sea of Will. It was alright. Although the tombstone was covered, it didn't affect the use of willpower. A moment later, Suyu sent a message. I found someone. 1 is quasi-invincible, 6 are at the 9th level of the sun and moon, and 1 is at the 8th level of the sun and moon. Is it enough to kill that quasi-invincible? However, this side might not dare to take the initiative to make a move, think of a way to sow discord. That's all. Also, PM not Suyu. In a corner of Prince Gong's residence. Modwa smiled. What an unnecessary move. Why did he have to add that sentence? I knew it. Your ability to stir up trouble is top-notch. I told you to think of a way to find someone to kill the shadow behind you. Yet, you found a good person in half an hour. Not only was there a quasi-invincible, but there were also 6 people at the 9th level of the sun and moon. As expected, I was right to find you. A normal person would not be able to find so many people to find trouble with me, Modwa, in half an hour. You, Suyu, even if you change your appearance, you still can't change your tea-eating temperament. Modwa had a faint smile on his face as he said indifferently, Lord Zhang Kuei, be careful. Ling Heng has run away. Dao Qing might bring Tai He here. If you meet Tai He, kill him. Behind him, the shadow was faintly discernible. He said, although the Dao King's bloodline isn't too strong, killing Tai He, the conflict between the demon race and the immortal race isn't too big. Modwa said indifferently, that's up to you. If I want to kill Dao Qing, no one can stop me. If Tai He kills me, PM no match for him. You can do as you see fit. Your Highness. The shadow was somewhat helpless. Very quickly, he said, as your Highness commands. He cursed in his heart. He prayed and said goodbye. It was not a good thing to start a war. He could kill Tai He, but the key was that after he killed Tai He, the Dao King would not look for trouble. The 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm was a direct descendant. Moreover, if Modwa wanted to kill Dao Qing, it would be even more troublesome. This was a genius on the heaven roll, the grandson of the Dao King. If he killed Dao Qing, the Dao King would not be finished. Modwa Na did not call for help. There was no need. If he called for help again, what if the shadow could not die? Moreover, he, Modwa, was not a person who was afraid of death. If he called for help, the shadow would also be suspicious. This was for the best. Modwa Na wandered around Prince Gong's residence and did not avoid anyone. Not long after, Suyu and the others found out that Modwa Na had gone to the martial arts hall. It was an extremely huge hall. That place was where Prince Gong's subordinates and descendants used to practice martial arts. Now, after so many years, it had been emptied out. There weren't many good things left, and not many people went. Xian Wuji was actually just casually asking around. He did not expect to find out where Modwa Na was so easily. He was also depressed. Forget it, let's go and talk. It would be best if he released the Banhu. If he did not release it, he could just say a few harsh words. Modwa was not the kind of person who would look for trouble just because he said some harsh words. He would not care. In this way, he would have some face. Forget about this matter. How could he really fight? What a joke. Who had the time to stand up for the Dao King's lineage? At this point, he did not even have the thought of letting Dao Cheng predict the danger. Dao Cheng, on the other hand, took the initiative and said, "Let me predict the good and bad." Although Xian Wuji felt that there was no need, he still nodded and said, "Then I'll have to trouble you, brother Dao Cheng." Of course, PM the one who has to trouble everyone. As he said this, divine runes appeared in his hands again. As for Su Yu, he was also secretly using divine runes at this moment. What divine runes? Tribulation, and silence. These two divine runes of his were close to the sun and moon, and Dao Cheng's divine runes were at most at this level. It would be better to see who would disturb who. The tribulation, divine inscription could make people feel that a great disaster was approaching, and it could also make people deviate and weaken the sense of danger. There was no need to say more about the calm, divine inscription. Su Yu had also been using the old devious Great Zhou King's divine inscription, and the effect was extremely good. At this moment, Dao Cheng was divining. Su Yu had not paid much attention to it before, but now, he was carefully watching. The two divine inscriptions were rapidly operating and interfering with each other. I don't believe it. You, Dao Cheng, are even more powerful than my divine inscriptions. Even if you are a direct descendant of Dao King, so what? Dao King is only at eternal 7 Dan, Great Zhou King is said to be at eternal 8 Dan. The old bastard might be at eternal 9 Dan, but isn't he stronger than Dao King? The tribulation, divine inscriptions are even more natural divine inscriptions, not even comparable to you. Sure enough, Dao Cheng did his divination for a while and frowned slightly. There was some danger, but it wasn't obvious. This was different from his previous divination. Could it be that he would die if he went alone before, but now that everyone was together, everything was fine? He predicted again, and Su Yu interfered again. At this moment, Su Yu's willpower was also rapidly depleting. He tried his best to reduce the other party's sense of danger. After a while, Dao Cheng frowned and gradually relaxed. He exhaled and said, "It's no big deal. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 2598, Chapter 2598, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Lunatics. 6 monthly pass, last 2 hours, 6. Chapter 2598, Chapter 556 Geniuses and Lunatics. 6 monthly pass, last 2 hours, 6. Xian Wuji immediately smiled and said, "I knew it. Brother Dao Cheng's divination technique is first class. Since you've said so, there shouldn't be a problem." The other people also heaved a sigh of relief at this moment. Everyone was still a little nervous when facing Madonna. Now that Dao Cheng had made a divination and everything was fine, there wouldn't be much of a problem. Go, it's just a matter of putting on a show. That's fine. Dao Cheng frowned slightly at this moment. Just as he was thinking about something, he heard. Su Yu transmitted his voice, "Your Highness, don't go. Let's find an excuse to leave. I'm a little uneasy. The crisis detection from the sun and moon might not affect the others. I feel that, a great disaster is coming for me." Dao Cheng suddenly glanced at him and saw that he was sweating profusely. He was a little surprised. Did he really sense the danger? He did another divination, but this time, it was Su Yu. As for Su Yu, this time, he truly felt that the other party was plotting against him. He swiftly used the calamity word divine script to make his calamity haunt him. After a moment, Dao Cheng's expression changed. He looked at Su Yu. There was really a crisis. Senior brother Ling Heng was in danger. Did this mean that the faint danger he had just predicted was actually aimed at senior brother? He took a glance out of the corner of his eye and saw that Su Yu was sweating profusely. He couldn't help but feel a little surprised. "We're fine. Did something happen to senior brother?" This Modwa isn't targeting us. Is he targeting senior brother? What's going on? Of course, he's fine. There's no need to worry too much. This means that senior brother is the root of all trouble. He was calculating in his heart. If that was the case, then his senior brother, it would be better if he was killed. Otherwise, with his senior brother around, he might be targeted all the time. Could it be because of the blood Lingji mushroom? Thinking of this, he had a thought. Yes, the demon race, the blood fire demon race, desperately needed this. Dao Qing thought to himself and slightly frowned. He transmitted his voice, "Senior brother, don't worry too much. I roughly understand the reason. How about this, senior brother, bring the heaven blood Lingji mushroom with you. What Modwa wants might be this. If you want it, senior brother will give it to him." Su Yu's face was full of struggle as he transmitted his voice, "Give it to him?" "Yes." Dao Qing transmitted his voice, "If the thing is gone, you can take it again. Leaving your life is better than the treasure." He also wanted to solve this problem and give it to Modwa. Su Yu was helpless and could only take the heavenly blood Lingji mushroom that belonged to him. However, he cursed in his heart. This fellow, he already knew that I was in great danger, yet he still wanted me to go. He's not a human. Killing you is also for the sake of taking revenge for Ling Heng. Su Yu thought in his heart, this isn't me wanting to kill you. If you want me to leave now, I'll leave. But you actually want me to go. This is forcing me to kill you. You're seeking your own death. There's nothing I can do about it. PV given you a chance. PM already in trouble, and I've specially shown it to you. Yet you still refuse to leave. There's really nothing I can do. Su Yu sighed in his heart. I was also helpless. Soon, they arrived at the martial arts hall. At this moment, the incomparably tall bronze door of the huge hall opened. In the depths of the hall, a figure could be seen with his back facing everyone. It was as if he was looking at something. For a moment, many geniuses of the immortal race looked at Modwa Na Y's back in a daze. The number one genius of the heavens was indeed extraordinary. As for Su Yu, all he wanted to say was, "Shoei. Your purple hair flutters in the wind, while my black hair flutters in the wind, and your white clothes flutters in the wind. It's just that the timing isn't right. Otherwise, I would definitely compete with UP." The group of people stepped into the great hall, and the doors to the hall suddenly closed. Xian Wuji and the others were shocked, but they quickly regained their composure. When geniuses met, they still had to maintain their face. What was there to be afraid of? His Tao protector had told him that there were only two people. Modwa Na also had a quasi-invincible. There are so many of us. Are we afraid of you? The one who should be afraid is Modwa Na. He's really bold. There are so many of us, and you dare to close the door. In front of the main hall, Modwa Na revealed a faint smile. Without turning his head, he said softly, "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Xian Wuji smiled. Naturally, he thought that Modwa was talking to him. He smiled and said, "Brother Modwa, PV heard about what happened before. I came here this time with no other intentions. I just want to ask you clearly. Also, where is senior brother Panhu?" Modwa turned around and played with the two balls in his hands. He chuckled and said, "Here, one is Panhu and the other is Tian Ding. Do you want it?" He casually tossed the two balls and looked at everyone. Xian Wuji still thought that he was talking to him. However, Su Yu knew that this dog was talking to him. Go to hell. You're provoking me, right? Su Yu cursed in his heart. Just wait, PLL hammer you to death sooner or later. He was also a daring person with great skills. Even though he knew that Modwa knew his identity, he still came. He was almost invincible, right? Su Yu wasn't a match, but he wasn't afraid. With the moon and stars here, even if I opened my yang aperture, I still have the power of the ninth layer of the sun and moon. With the ninth layer of the sun and moon, even if I used a few more tricks, even if I couldn't beat him, I still had some confidence in escaping. If he really couldn't, then he would shout out to old Joe, F***CKU all. Who was afraid of who? If he won this gamble, he would eat all the immortal geniuses and capture them all in one go. That would be a huge profit. Yes, capture them all in one go. The moment Su Yu saw Xian Wuji and the others, he had this idea. Destroy the entire generation of the immortal race. Xian Wuji, Dao Cheng, and the others all entered the book for a swim. Up ahead, Modwa was looking at Su Yu. As for Xian Wuji, he didn't care about him at all. Even though Xian Wuji had entered the ninth level of the mountain and sea realm, he was only at the first level of the mountain and sea realm. He didn't care about him at all. Even Dao Cheng was more important than Xian Wuji. At this moment, Modwa felt a myriad of emotions in his heart. He could tell that Su Yu was too ambitious. He wanted to eat all of the immortals. What great ambition, what great courage. Modwa Na smiled. He suddenly smiled. Only with such courage and boldness could he help himself. Otherwise, who would dare to provoke the demon emperor? An ordinary invincible person wouldn't dare. But Su Yu, he dared. Yes, Su Yu dared. What Modwa Na needed was this. Other people were unreliable. Only a fearless demon like Su Yu could help him accomplish something. Because, this is a madman. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2599, Chapter 2599, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, L. Chapter 2599, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, L. There was usually only a thin line between a genius and a madman. Su Yu was a genius and also a madman. And what Modwa needed at this moment was this madman. He looked at the people in the hall and revealed a faint smile on his face. He said softly, "The door is closed." Xian Wuji and the others frowned. What did he mean? Modwa smiled and walked to the end of the hall. He sat on the throne and pressed his hand on the armrest. He said softly, "This martial arts hall only guards the outside, not the inside. This armrest is the switch that opens the door. Otherwise, once the door is closed, this is forged by King Gong. It cannot be broken unless it is invincible or even in the Daemerge." The group of people frowned again. Xian Wuji forced a smile and said, "Brother Modwa, there is not much conflict between immortals and demons. If there is anything wrong with Pan Hu, Brother Modwa, say it. If it is really Pan Hu's fault, we can have a good talk." Modwa smiled. "He's not wrong." Xian Wuji frowned. He looked at Modwa, not quite understanding what Modwa was trying to do. Could it be that he wanted to kill them? What a joke. The strength on their side was very powerful. On the throne, Modwa calmly said, "Lord Zhang Kuei." A black figure appeared. On the immortal side, a white figure appeared in front of Xian Wuji. It was Xian Wuji's Dao protector. The white shadow looked at the black shadow indifferently and said casually, "Brother Zhang Kuei, long time no see." The black shadow smiled faintly and said, "Young Ark, you are no match for." Yes, the black shadow was very strong. At least, young Ark was no match for Xian Wuji's Dao protector. However, young Ark was not worried. Soon, many ninth-level Sun-Moon experts appeared beside him. Young Ark said softly, "Young people are easily impulsive. They all came from young people. You are a Dao protector and a person who teaches by example. You can't always listen to Modwa. We came here this time with no intention of forcing you. We just want to understand the whole story. Before the black figure could speak, Madhwa said indifferently from above the throne, the story is very simple. I want to kill someone. Kill me and open the door to the hall. You don't need a reason to leave. If you can't kill, you will die here. This place is sealed. Even the invincible can't enter. Don't worry. At the door of the hall, Xian Wuji didn't understand and was a bit speechless. What the hell, how did it come to a life-and-death battle? Young Ark also frowned, and his aura gradually became stronger. He said coldly, Madhwa, do you know that since ancient times, all the arrogant geniuses have died miserably? Although you have talent, your strength is only that of the mountains and seas. Madhwa Na ignored him. He looked at Zhang Kuei and said indifferently, Sir, aren't you going to make a move? Zhang Kuei frowned. Madhwa Na said coldly again, if Sir isn't going to make a move, then kill me. Open this door and let them leave. Zhang Kuei also collapsed. Damn it. What should he do? The other side was not a pushover. What kind of joke was that? He was a little stronger than Young Ark, but that did not mean that he would be able to fight other people after fighting Young Ark. It would be difficult for him to join forces with the other side. At this moment, Young Ark transmitted his voice, Madonna is too domineering. Zhang Kuei, we will do as he wishes. Let's have a battle and get someone to subdue Madonna. Open this door and let's leave. Young Ark was also speechless. Forget it, let's put on a show. Killing was not easy. Since that was the case, he would deal with Zhang Kuei and put on a show. Any 8th or 9th level of the sun and moon would be able to subdue Madonna. With that, he would open the door and leave. He would not bother with this lunatic. Zhang Kuei thought about it and it made sense. Sure. The next moment, he said in a low voice, then we will follow His Highness' orders. As he said that, the void exploded. The two quasi-invincible figures instantly tore through the void. However, they were unable to leave the main hall. Instead, they started fighting in another layer of space within the main hall. At this moment, Young Ark's voice rang in Su Yu and the others' ears, go subdue Madhwa Na. It's fine if you heavily injure him, but it's fine if you don't kill him. Open the door and leave together. There was something wrong with Madhwa. There was no need to fight with him. If he really killed him, Zhang Kuei would have to risk his life. Even if Zhang Kuei didn't risk his life, he would still be killed by the Demon Emperor when he returned to the demon race. At this moment, Xian Wuji was also speechless. He glanced at the 9th layer of the sun and moon, then quickly looked at Tai. This matter was caused by all of you. Tai he didn't say anything. He stepped forward and walked toward Madhwa. A mere first layer of the mountain and sea realm really took him seriously. If not for the fact that he was afraid of the Demon Emperor and Zhang Kuei, he would have slapped him to death. Tai he snorted coldly in his heart and looked at the two balls in Madhwa's hands. One of them was the Koho's Sea of Will. It was fine, but it could still save people. It could be considered that he had completed the purpose of this trip perfectly. As he walked forward, he said, Madhwa, you're still too young. Young man, it's better to keep a low profile. Don't be like Su Yu. You're a genius, but compared to Su Yu, you don't have any advantage. Even Su Yu can only hide in the ancient city. Below, Su Yu was rather satisfied with what he heard. Of course, he was satisfied with the first half of the story. The rest was just **t. That was why he was hiding in the ancient city. Su Yu also wanted to see what Madhwa could do. Could he deal with the 9th layer of the sun-moon realm? If he couldn't, he would have to leave. And the moment he stepped forward, Madhwa sighed softly. I failed this time and returned to the myriad realms. I'll never be able to escape from him again. These words were meant for Su Yu to hear. Under the bewildered gazes of the others, he took out a drop of golden blood, smiled, and swallowed it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2600, Chapter 2600, Chapter 557 Battle. Monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 2. Chapter 2600, Chapter 557 Battle. Monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 2. He was stunned for a moment. In the next moment, he was extremely shocked. Devil Emperor's essence blood. Aren't you afraid of death? You're only at the first layer of the mountain and sea realm, yet you dare to swallow the Devil Emperor's essence blood? No matter how strong Madwa's physical body was, it wasn't as strong as Su Yu's. Su Yu didn't even dare to swallow it, yet Madwa swallowed it. He was so shocked that he reached out his hand to grab him. Madwa was still calm as if he did not receive too much of an impact. However, his aura instantly became countless times stronger. He sighed softly, that's right. The Demon Emperor's blood essence and blood of the same origin can naturally endure a little more. After all, this physical body of mine is his future body. Just like how Lu Wenyan inherited Yi Baishan's divine text in the past, he inherited Yi Baishan's divine text. Today, it was the same for Madonna. The Demon Emperor had been modifying his body. He was resisting, and he did not want to accept it. Therefore, the Demon Emperor could only think of ways to modify it bit by bit, so that he could adapt to himself better. When Madonna swallowed this drop of blood essence, there was no way out for him. His body, under the modification of the blood essence, would only be extremely compatible with the Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor could invade his body anytime, anywhere. No matter how strong he was, he would not be able to resist. He was going all out. If Su Yu's side didn't work out, he would have to work with the blood fire. Demon King to lure the future body of the Demon Emperor and let the blood Fire Demon King kill him. Even if it was just asking for the skin of a tiger, now that he was working with Su Yu, wasn't it the same? I can't accept this. My entire life is under the control of someone else. Mo Duo's eyes gradually became resolute. His aura instantly became terrifyingly powerful. He. With a low cry, Madwa's punch caused the world to turn pale. Bang! A loud sound was emitted as he was sent flying. Fresh blood flowed from his mouth as his palm was directly smashed apart by his punch. He's expression changed drastically. At this moment, he no longer had any hope of being lucky or underestimating. He furiously said, "Kill him. Quick, this fellow has gone mad." He had swallowed the Demon Emperor's essence blood. At this moment, he was not the only one. The two quasi-unrivaled experts who were currently fighting were also slightly stunned. Below, Madwa, who could sense the surging strength and incomparably powerful strength, looked towards the sky. He smiled and said, "Zhang Kuei, if I don't kill him, I will kill Xian Wuji and the others. If Young Arc doesn't mind that Xian Wuji and the others are killed, you guys can continue playing." Zhang Kuei's expression changed drastically. F***ck, he had even swallowed the Demon Emperor essence blood. He was really going to risk his life. Zhang Kuei clenched his teeth and was still thinking when Young Arc became anxious. He roared furiously, "Kill! Kill Madwa, quick! F***ck." He was serious. Boom! In an instant, 3 9th-level Sun-Moon cultivators joined forces and charged towards Madwa. As for the others, just as they were about to attack, Zhang Kuei also became anxious. With an angry roar, his two bodies suddenly split apart. With a body full of Young Arc, the other body instantly left the battlefield. He charged towards those 9th-level Sun-Moon cultivators. He had his past and present. Just his present body was not weaker than Young Arc. At this moment, he was also anxious. Maudwa had gone mad. It was fine if he had gone mad, but he could not let him die. His past body, in a flash towards those 9 heavy sun and moon to kill. Mordona laughed. At the moment he, long hair flying, strong breath boundless, smiled, it should be so. Boom. One punch, maha maha. Between heaven and earth, it seems that only this punch, looks more powerful than the past body of War Kuei. Thump. 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 The other sun and moon experts rushed over. 3 9th-level sun and moon experts, 1 8th-level sun and moon experts, joined forces to attack him. In the void, 2 quasi-invincible experts were engaged in a fierce battle. On the other side, Zhang Kuei was also engaged in a fierce battle with the 3 9th-level sun and moon experts. As for Su Yu and the others, they all retreated at this moment. Su Yu could be considered to be the strongest at this moment. He protected Dao Qing tightly and destroyed the aftershocks. His expression changed, and so did Xian Wuji. He transmitted his voice and shouted, "Ling Heng, go. Open the gate. While he is fighting, hurry up." Su Yu ignored him and continued to protect Dao Qing. Dao Qing was also speechless and did not say anything. This was because these people were all fighting over there. If Ling Heng went, he might be casually slapped to death. If it were him, he would not go either. However, as he watched Maudwa go crazy, the sky was filled with Maudwa's fists. The large hall was filled with fists. There were even fists flying towards them. Dao Qing felt helpless and anxious. What was going on? He thought that the disaster should be on his senior brother. In the end, it was not. Maudwa was going to kill people the moment he arrived. What was he up? Just as he was thinking, Maudwa let out a fierce roar. His body suddenly became countless times larger and instantly filled the entire hall. His huge palm grabbed the 8th-level sun and moon expert. With a roar and a boom, the 8th-level sun and moon expert was crushed alive by him. He allowed the other 3 to smash his fist and crush the 8th-level sun and moon expert. A ball appeared in his hand. It was a sea of will. He laughed loudly and swallowed it directly into his stomach. "If you don't kill me, PLL kill all of you." At this moment, the 3 9th-level Sun-Moon Realm cultivators were really anxious. They no longer had any intention of holding back. They roared angrily and used their trump cards. The great battle instantly erupted. If Maudwa really wanted to kill someone, don't expect him to just say it. The 8th-level Sun-Moon Realm was destroyed by him. Kill him, quick. Even if he swallowed the Demon Emperor's blood essence, he won't be able to hold on for long. Kill him. In the void, Yang Arc shouted. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2601, Chapter 2601, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 3. Chapter 2601, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 3. Damn it. Just like that, his opponent easily killed an 8th-level Sun-Moon cultivator. Just as he was thinking about it, Zhang Kuei's palm pierced through the void as if time was flowing backwards. Suddenly, the young arc that had just deviated was caught by his palm. The palm was incomparably sharp and pierced through Yang Arc's shoulder. Yang Arc's expression changed. Zhang Kuei, you want to kill me? Yang Arc was shocked and furious. Zhang Kuei did not speak. It was very obvious that Maudwa Na was going all out. He had to make a move. It was best if he killed young Ark. If not, he was worried that he would be in big trouble. Once Modwa Na killed Xian Wuji and the others, young Ark would sooner or later go all out. You're courting death. Young Ark roared angrily. You are only in your current body. Are you really stronger than me? Boom! The river of time appeared. His past body instantly merged into his body. In the next moment, young Ark waved his sword. This slash was not aimed at the current Zhang Kuei. It was aimed at the past Zhang Kuei. Zhang Kuei's expression was also cold. Young Ark's control over time was not low. The battle erupted. At this moment, Suyu did not participate in the battle. He continued to destroy the aftershocks and shouted, "Your Highness, go to the corner. Quick, I will protect your Highness." Xian Wuji and the others looked at him angrily. They didn't say anything and retreated to the corner. Xian Wuji snorted and looked at Modwa Na, who was fighting the 3 9th-level Sun-Moon cultivators. He gritted his teeth and said, "He can't hold on for long. He can only rely on external forces. The power of the Devil Emperor can't be sent in. His blood essence is exhausted, so he naturally doesn't have the strength to fight anymore." Modwa Na, who was at the first level of the mountain and sea realm, was currently fighting against the 3 Sun-Moon 9th-level cultivators. The power of this drop of blood essence of the Devil Emperor was unbelievably powerful. One had to know that this wasn't his innate blood essence. It didn't mean that the blood essence of the Devil Emperor could provide you with the power of the Tao convergence. It was just forcefully strengthening Modwa Na himself, pushing him to his limit. Once he held on, he would be able to unleash his full power. Obviously, Modwa was able to hold on and unleash the power of the 9th level. Of the sun and moon. Just from this point alone, he was stronger than Xian Wuji and the others. This was because they had also received the power inheritance before. When they were at the human realm, their battle strength was at the 8th level of the sun and moon. At that time, Suyu had even fought with them. Xian Wuji's words were filled with jealousy. Under his jealousy, he sneered and said, "Even if he doesn't die this time, when he gets out, he can only transform into one of the 3 bodies." There was no more chance for Modwa. After he got out, perhaps there would be no more Modwa in the world. This was his last desperate struggle. And in Xian Wuji's eyes, it was just his final madness before he died. Dao Cheng was also continuously deducing. With a poochie sound, blood gushed out, but his heart was filled with shock. Why? Why was it still safe at this time? Could it be that there was really no danger? Or could it be that the few people in the divination were too strong, so they weren't allowed? Or could it be that there really wasn't any danger? Seeing this, Xian Wuji said, "How about luck and misfortune?" "Good luck." Dao Cheng said strangely. "Yes, good luck. F***ck. Was this a good luck omen? Why?" Xian Wuji was also stunned for a moment, but he quickly smiled and said, "Maybe it really is. If he loses, he will have a lot of good things on hand. It is indeed a good luck omen." With that, he was even more certain. This time, there was no crisis. Good omen. Dao Cheng, however, could not believe it. He once again secretly divined Suyu, and when he looked again, it was still a bad omen. So, the one who died was still his senior brother. He was in front, blocking the crisis. After the crisis, it was good omen. And Suyu, who had his back to them, had a slight smile on his face. Good omen, okay. A half-baked divination technique, can you stop making a fool of yourself? For someone as powerful as the 10,000 heavenly saints, borrowing a heavenly weapon and spending 100 years of his life to look at the future, he could only see bits and pieces. He could not see the real future. A Tao master in the mountain sea realm would not use his life, nor would he rely on a heavenly weapon, just a few divine runes to predict the future. You are really amazing. There were hundreds of millions of possibilities, but to be able to see one was already not bad. As a civilized master, Suyu was not that afraid of divination. This was just one kind of civilized master. Dao Cheng was just showing off his skills in front of an expert. Suyu ignored them and looked at the 3 battlefields. He frowned slightly. It was not easy to deal with. If the 2 quasi-invincible masters were not finished, or if both of them were injured, it would be useless for him to make a move. No matter how strong he was, he would not be able to take down the 2 quasi-invincible masters. Even if he opened his young aperture and swallowed another drop of peak 9th level Sun Moon blood essence, it would only allow his strength to reach the peak 9th level Sun Moon. He did not have the quasi-undefeatable blood essence. Otherwise, he could try to devour the quasi-undefeatable blood essence. Therefore, he had to wait for the 2 quasi-undefeatable warriors to kill until both sides were injured before he could attack. As for those 9th level Sun Moon warriors, he did not care too much about them. Although there were quite a number of them, they could be dealt with. Bang! Another loud sound rang out. A long spear suddenly appeared in the hands of the purple-haired Modwa. He thrust the spear forward, and with a poochie sound, it pierced through a 9th level Sun and Moon expert. Heavenly weapon. Tai he roared angrily. It wasn't strange for him to be a heavenly weapon. The key point was, wasn't Modwa proficient in spear techniques? Wasn't he proficient in fist techniques? A heavenly weapon was a spear, so Modwa was definitely good at it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have forged a heavenly weapon. As for Modwa, his spear pierced through the 9th layer of the Sun-Moon realm and lifted him onto the tip of the spear. The 9th layer of the Sun-Moon realm let out an angry roar and was about to struggle free when suddenly, a flame shot out from between Modwa's brows. With a poochie sound, that flame was incomparably powerful. In an instant, it burned the 9th layer of the Sun-Moon realm into charcoal, and miserable cries rang out incessantly. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2602, Chapter 2602, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 4. Chapter 2602, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 4. Civilized Master. At this moment, Zhang Kuei and Young Ark cried out simultaneously in the sky. Civilized Master. Not only was he a civilized master, but he was also a civilized master with decent battle prowess, 9th level of the mountain and sea realm. This was impossible. Modwa was only at the 1st level of the mountain and sea realm. It was recorded on the heaven hunting list. Very quickly, Zhang Kuei and the others thought of something, including Suyu. They were a little surprised. Chen Yong. Yes, Chen Yong. Modwa was the same as Chen Yong. He was a civilized master, but he had always been stuck at the 9th level of the Lingyun realm. However, almost all of his apertures had closed except for the last one. This way, after entering the Starry Palace, he could instantly close his apertures and step into the 9th level of the mountain and sea realm in one day. At this moment, it could be considered an unexpected situation. The 9th level of the Sun and Moon realm was usually not afraid of this flame. However, it was pierced through by the long spear and was instantly severely injured by the flame. Modwa lifted his foot, and with a boom, he shattered into pieces. One of the 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators was blasted apart by him. Tai He and the other female immortal were terrified, and took a few steps back. In just a short while, the two of them were blasted apart. As for Modwa, he was as indifferent as ever. A 9th level mountain and sea cultivator. He was also quite powerful, and wasn't any weaker than an ordinary Sun-Moon cultivator. At this moment, Modwa was showing everyone how powerful he was. He single-handedly killed 4 suns and moons in less than a minute. He defeated an 8th level sun and moon and a 9th level sun and moon. With 2 people missing, the situation had completely changed. Roar! A fierce roar resounded throughout the great hall. In the air, young Ark was completely anxious. His sword pierced through the heaven and earth. With a poochie sound, it slashed onto Zhang Kuei's body. Zhang Kuei's arm was broken, but he instantly recovered. However, his face turned pale. In the blink of an eye, a fist smashed onto his chest. Young Ark roared angrily, "Your Highness, kill Zhang Kuei's 3rd incarnation. Quick, the rest of you suppress his past body. Don't look at how Xian Wuji and the others were just mountains and seas. At critical moments, they all had hidden treasures." As soon as these words were said, Xian Wuji and the others gritted their teeth. Suddenly, they all erupted with incomparably powerful auras. Some used the essence blood of the 9th level of the sun and moon, some used heavenly weapons, and some used divine talismans. This time, Su Yu became the weakest. The 8 geniuses also knew that this wasn't the time to joke. They all charged towards Zhang Kuei to kill him. Zhang Kuei's expression also changed slightly as he shouted, "Your Highness, finish off those 2 guys and help me." He had already stalled 3 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, and now 8 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, then it would be dangerous for him to go over. Under normal circumstances, he would be weaker than his current body. However, if he went over, he would be invincible. At most, he would be at the peak of 9th level Sun-Moon. That was because the moment before he was invincible, he would be at the peak of 9th level Sun-Moon. Not only would he have to fight 3 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators, he would also have to fight 8 more. That was not something his past body could do. An invincible past body was more or less the same. At this moment, Madonna's voice rang in Su Yu's ears. "Once Zhang Kuei's past body is dead, his strength will slip. I will stall young Ark for an instant, and you will kill everyone." This wasn't a discussion, but a decision. This was his plan. As for Su Yu, his mouth opened wide. He really wanted to say, "Screw you." Zhang Kuei's 3rd reincarnation had died, and he also possessed the strength of a peak 9th level Sun-Moon cultivator. In addition to the other 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators, you want me to kill him? You think too highly of me. Why don't I wait and see? Maudwa's voice rang out once more. The longer the night, the more trouble there will be. How much time do you think you have left for us? I haven't killed anyone yet. Once someone dies, a powerful undead will definitely appear, and a large number of ancient city tokens will be needed to expel the undead. You have them, but you don't dare to take them out now. Also, Invincible might also descend soon. We don't have time. Su Yu was depressed. You're the one who doesn't have time. He calculated for a moment and exhaled. Alright, you keep quasi-invincible while I deal with those 9th layer of the sun and moon. It'll be very difficult, but it'll be very exciting, won't it? It seems like I haven't gone to a real life and death battle for a very, very long time. Maudwa Na, you grandson, can you deal with quasi-invincible? Young Ark, it's not that easy to deal with. At this moment, Su Yu retreated to the side. No one cared about him anymore, he was too weak. The 8 geniuses and 3 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators instantly suppressed Zhang Kuei. Zhang Kuei also became anxious and roared furiously, "Your Highness, quickly go and help me." Maudwa Na let out a low growl as he swept out with his spear. Spear shadows covered the sky and earth as he sent the 2 9th level Sun-Moon cultivators flying backwards. He also flew towards Zhang Kuei. Young Ark roared furiously, "Stop him. Quick, kill Zhang Kuei and get over there." Rumble. The battle was extremely intense. At this moment, Tai He and Mo duo were incomparably crazy. They fought fiercely with Maudwa Na, not giving him the chance to save them. Mo Dona, on the other hand, was fighting until the 2 of them were vomiting blood. He swept his long spear across and flew towards Zhang Kuei. Seeing that the distance between them was getting closer and closer, Zhang Kuei heaved a sigh of relief. He was scared to death. Fortunately, His Highness' combat strength was incomparably powerful. He was fighting until these people were completely unable to stop him. A moment later, Mo Dona charged over. Xian Wuji and the others were helpless and had no choice but to let them regroup. In the next moment, Zhang Kuei went over and regrouped with Mo Dona. Zhang Kuei panted heavily. "Your Highness is lucky to be here. It was too dangerous." At this moment, his past body was also riddled with injuries. If they continued fighting, he would be finished. Lucky. He was once again thankful for Modwa Na's strength. Modwa Na was indifferent. He looked at him and then at the guys surrounding them. Suddenly, he smiled and said softly, "You guys are too weak." Everyone frowned. Zhang Kuei didn't care about what he said. At this moment, he recovered quickly. Beside him, Modwa suddenly looked at him. "Sir Zhang Kuei. Be careful. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 2603, Chapter 2603, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 5. Chapter 2603, Chapter 557 Battle. Guaranteed monthly ticket at the beginning of the month, 5. I will. Pft. Just as he finished speaking, he widened his eyes and stared at Modwa. He was stunned. Yes, at this moment, he wasn't the only one. Everyone was stunned, except for Su Yu, who wasn't too surprised. At this moment, Modwa's spear pierced into his heart and said indifferently, "I told you to be careful." His chi burst forth, and his powerful chi and blood exploded with a boom. It shattered into pieces. A piece of wood fell to the ground. Zhang Kuei had never thought that Modwa would attack him at this moment. He had never thought that this would happen. "We are in cahoots. If you kill me, what benefits will you get? Will we perish together?" He really couldn't figure it out. At this moment, his body, which was fighting with Young Arc, instantly became dispirited. Young Arc didn't take advantage of the chaos to chase after him. Instead, he was stunned and looked at Madonna in disbelief. Xian Wuji and Dao Qingquan were dumbfounded. Madonna, was he crazy? He killed Zhang Kuei's past body. Did he want to die? In the void, Zhang Kuei's resentful voice sounded in the next moment, "Madonna. Rage. Monstrous rage." With incomparable rage and fury, he was going crazy. Modwa Na had killed his past self. At this moment, Xian Wuji and the rest were all laughing. This was too fun. This was an internal conflict. If Zhang Kuei did not kill Modwa Na now, he would no longer be Zhang Kuei. Killing his 3 lifeforms would be cutting off his path of retreat. Modwa Na did not look at him. Instead, he looked at Young Arc and said softly, "How about I play with you?" Young Arc couldn't help but laugh. At this moment, he also felt that Modwa had gone completely mad. You should mind your own business first. Think about how Zhang Kuei will fight you to the death. Has this demon race all gone mad? During the great battle, they killed their teammates and killed their own Dao protectors. This was simply a joke. It was a huge joke. Young Arc laughed and said, "You should talk to brother Zhang Kuei. We won't participate in the matters of your demon race. There's no need. Someone will take care of him." Modwa walked toward the void step by step. Zhang Kuei, unable to contain his anger, instantly charged toward him. Modwa ignored him. At this moment, a human figure appeared. His aura was extremely powerful and calm. A book appeared in his hand. With a bang, he blocked Zhang Kuei's fist and took a few steps back. He smiled and said, brother, let's talk it out. Silence. There were still experts in the hall. Then, he looked again. Ling Heng. In front of him, Modwa stepped forward in the air with a long spear in his hand. Without turning his head, he said, I'll leave it to you. There's no problem, right? I can only stall him, but I can't kill him. I still need you and I to work together to kill him. Suyu sighed and said, I've lost my mind. I'm with you. I'm not a boorish person. I like to watch everyone die secretly. I don't like to fight head-on, you boorish person. No, you'll like it. Modwa laughed. His spear pierced through the sky and earth. Even young Ark was shocked. It was so powerful. You'll find that no matter how many plots you have, it won't be as satisfying as this kind of head-on fight. No, no, no. I don't like it. You're so King conniving. Suyu looked at the others and sighed. Including Zhang Kuei, even if he drops in realm, CK, 6th 9th level of the Sun and Moon, 8th 7th or 8th level of the Sun and Moon. This can destroy an almost invincible opponent. Are you kidding me? Didn't you appear? That's true. Suyu smiled bitterly, I appeared. So nervous. At this moment, Dao Cheng's expression completely changed, and he exclaimed, Suyu. It's me, baby Dao Cheng. Suyu regained his true appearance, and his clothes instantly turned snow-white. He held a book in his hand and smiled lightly, Your Highness, let Suyu send you off. All was silent. Suyu. Suyu. At this moment, Dao Cheng completely understood. He said in shock and anger, You came long ago, you cooperated. That's right. Suyu smiled and the pages in his hand quickly flipped. In an instant, a book covered the sky and earth. The 301 pages appeared and the sun and moon beasts appeared one after another. Suyu sighed, I think my book is going to be injured. Little babies, trap them for a while, I'll come after I kill Zhang Kuei. Everyone, let's fight in the book. Boom. The world turned upside down, and at this moment, the 13 experts were instantly swept into the book, and the huge book split the 13 people. As for Suyu, his face was slightly pale. His young apertures were fully opened, and the aura of death spread out. As the blood essence entered his stomach, the power of the peak of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm was revealed. He looked at the furious Zhang Kuei and smiled, I haven't killed Quasi-Invincible yet, even though you're just a dabbler now. Boom. Zhang Kuei punched out. He no longer had any thoughts. Modwa Na wanted to kill him. He and Suyu had reached an agreement. In the book, those people also roared and fought with countless phantoms. Their powerful strength destroyed one phantoms after another. However, even if they could destroy all 300 sun-moon behemoths, they still needed time. At this moment, Suyu and Zhang Kuei instantly engaged in battle. Divine transformation. Immortal power possession. Demonic arrival. Force word entering the body. Divine text, battle skills, and innate skills were all used by Suyu. His battle strength instantly soared, and his 360 yuan apertures exploded with a dazzling light. A punch was thrown out. Fist against fist, with a bang, Suyu retreated 3 steps while Zhang Kuei retreated 2 steps. Zhang Kuei said angrily, You're not enough, go die. Boom boom. The two instantly fought in the air, turning into phantoms. In the book, those huge beasts were constantly being destroyed. With so many experts fighting, their speed was also fast. Dao Qing roared, Quick, kill all these things, go out and kill Suyu. At this moment, he could only feel endless fear. Suyu came. Not only did he come, but he also got mixed up with Modwa Na. On the other side, Modwa Na was already fighting with Yang Arc. At this moment, Modwa Na was even stronger, but he was being beaten by young Ark until he was bleeding non-stop. However, he was still full of smiles. At this moment, he was very happy. Even if Suyu did not seem to be a match for Zhang Kuei, it did not matter. He laughed out loud and said, "Suyu, let's see who is stronger. F***ck, you have the Devil Emperor's essence blood. You're no better either." "Hahaha, that's true." Suyu laughed heartily, but he continued to fight with Zhang Kuei. He circled around Zhang Kuei as he unleashed his time cultivation technique, the heaven-cleaving blade, and the mountain-suppressing fist. The aura of the entire hall erupted, and danger lurked everywhere. Poo 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 pew. Drops of blood seeped out from Zhang Kuei's body, and Suyu was also beaten up by Zhang Kuei's consecutive punches until he vomited blood. However, his defense was too strong, and even Zhang Kuei would find it difficult to break his body. The great battle erupted. Suyu had too many tricks up his sleeves, causing everyone to be overwhelmed with shock. His innate techniques were one after another, and his invisibility and 5 elements evasion techniques were all at his fingertips. The battle between Madhua Na and young Ark was a fist-to-fist battle. As for the battle between Suyu and Zhang Kuei, it was even more pleasing to the eye. In Suyu's eyes, it was as if one could see the resplendent civilization of the myriad races in the heavens. There were countless battle techniques, countless innate techniques, countless cultivation techniques, and a pile of divine texts. Even if Zhang Kuei was slightly stronger than Suyu, at this moment, he still wanted to vomit blood. It was too troublesome. But it didn't matter. As long as he persisted for a while longer, even if he couldn't kill Suyu, Suyu would still be finished. Because Xian Wuji and the others were rapidly slaughtering those giant beasts. As long as they charged out, Suyu would definitely die. Suyu would die, and Madhua Na would also die. At worst, I will betray the demon race. If you go too far, kill me. And he did not have the time to care about the drops of blood that were flowing around him. P.S. Number 1, please get some guaranteed monthly tickets. Thank you, everyone. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2604, Chapter 2604, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. L. Chapter 2604, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. L. Heaven-cleaving blade. A dull blade cut through flesh, bit by bit. Suyu used all his methods. Was Zhang Kuei strong? Stronger than him. However, Suyu did not pursue instant kill. He only circled around the other party, creating minor injuries. The blood word divine script absorbed the blood that spilled out bit by bit. Blood essence was also extracted from fresh blood. In essence, Zhang Kuei was still quasi-invincible. It was just that his past body was finished. Under the backlash, he fell from quasi-invincible to the peak of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm. Therefore, his blood was still quasi-invincible. Suyu was not as fast as him, but Suyu had many tricks up his sleeve. Without activating the River of Time, Zhang Kuei was faster than him, but he could not avoid Suyu. And Suyu, but also use slow word God text to contain the speed of the other side, pressure word God text to suppress the space around him, shock word God text to shake all directions. One by one, the runes, at this moment, all worked. Can't kill Zhang Kuei, even these mountains and seas holy text can't hurt him. It doesn't matter. The runes are all auxiliary means in Suyu's case. As Suyu fought with him, he looked around. The book was vibrating, and many experts attacked to kill the phantoms. The phantoms would appear after they were killed, but their strength would drop. Some phantoms would even fall below the sun and moon. Suyu's heart ached terribly. My book. My baby, once the phantoms are killed, it might cause civilization's will to drop. Originally, there were 110 golden patterns, but perhaps the number of golden patterns would decrease. My heart ached terribly. Open! Suyu shouted in a low voice. The aura of death surrounded his body. Xingyue, give me some strength. You didn't give me enough aura of death. At the same time, under the undead passageway, Xingyue's expression was extremely ugly. The aura of death was fluctuating intensely. How strong was Suyu now? Right now, at the peak of the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, he was absorbing her aura of death. Although there was still a huge gap between him and invincible, if he continued to absorb her aura, who knew how long that fellow would take? Beast! Xingyue roared in her heart. He is a beast. I just came here, and this beast is targeting me and absorbing me. At this moment, some of the undead lords around looked at her. They felt strange. One of the undead lords asked, Xingyue, are you okay? I'm fine. Xingyue said coldly, I'm converting a quasi-invincible expert to see if I can successfully convert him. The opponent is in the Starry Mansion. If I can successfully convert him, I'll attack him from the inside and the outside. Then, I'll open up a channel for us to join the river map and kill him. As soon as she said this, the dead souls were all stunned. You have a quasi-invincible expert. Xingyu said indifferently, of course, but this guy is too powerful. It's too difficult to convert him through the passage. Can everyone lend me a hand? Otherwise, I can only give up. Ever since she got to know Suyu, this treacherous villain, she also learned how to scheme. I can't say that I'm restricted by someone. Otherwise, I'll die. Once these undead lords see that she's weak, they'll eat her. Now, very good. I'm converting to a quasi-invincible person. If I succeed, we'll eat meat together. If I fail, there's nothing I can do. As expected, the undead have recovered some of their memories, but how much can they recover? Even if they recovered a lot, they wouldn't be fooled by river map anymore. A moment later, a dead soul monarch said, this person is so powerful. Even you can't forcefully convert him. The rules are limited, so I can only continuously inject death chi to try. We are here to help you. Several dead soul monarchs spoke one after another. In the next moment, a large amount of death chi surged toward the stars and moon. One of the lords said excitedly, once the conversion of a quasi-invincible person is successful, open the passageway and connect to the river map, this starry manor will be our world. Ha ha ha. Not bad. Xingyu, convert him. Forcefully convert him. We support you. Xingyu had an indifferent expression as he sat cross-legged. A large amount of death aura dissipated in the void, but he felt a little strange in his heart. As expected, undead were all very stupid. No wonder that bastard Suyu was so arrogant every time he saw him. She felt that she was only SOSO and that she could be easily dealt with. Humph. This seat has also learned how to lie to others. No, to the undead. Suyu, I'm not afraid of you. At this moment, when those monarchs injected death aura into her, Xingyue did not reject them either. While providing power to Suyu, she cursed in her heart. This bastard was getting more and more powerful. Now, she could barely bear the suction. Fortunately, there was a foolish undead monarch here who could help her bear the pressure. A bunch of idiots. Thank you so much. The other monarchs also sensed the powerful fluctuation of her death aura. They were all very excited. One undead monarch sighed and said, the person who transformed from Xingyue is not weak. Could it be that he is about to attain the Tao? The death aura that was forcefully transformed consumed a lot of it. Everyone, put in more effort. It will be almost invincible and difficult to transform. Of course, if we succeed, then everyone will be happy. The undead lords were excited. Good things were happening again and again. He too was about to open the door, and Xing Yu was also about to convert to quasi-invincible. This time, this passageway was definitely going to open. The Lord spared no effort and a large amount of death energy surged into Xing Yu's body. Xing Yu's face was indifferent. Very good. Stupid Su Yu, suck on it. I have an inexhaustible amount of death aura now. Xing Yue can use her brain. Su Yu did not expect this. He was still worried that if he absorbed too much of Xing Yue, her strength would weaken and she would be killed by the other undead. Therefore, when Su Yu absorbed it, he was actually a little apprehensive. I have sucked Xing Yue until she has no strength left. If she is killed, then I will be in trouble. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2605, Chapter 2605, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 2. Chapter 2605, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 2. Without the moon and stars, once his young aperture opened, although he could still fight, his combat strength wouldn't last long. He would be sucked to death very quickly. At that time, he would be finished. At this moment, Su Yu's blood word divine script was already trembling non-stop. A drop of blood essence was gradually taking shape. As for Zhang Kuei, his strength was also somewhat declining. Of course, Su Yu was also covered in injuries, but he was eating lotus root. Damn it! Zhang Kuei roared furiously, hurry up, damn it, come out and kill him. He was injured. At this realm, it was very difficult for him to recover. Not everyone had treasures. In order to exchange for a vessel, he had long since emptied his house. How could there be such a treasure that could rapidly recover his physical body? Su Yu, on the other hand, had a lot. Especially the lotus root. It was really good to restore one's physical body. Previously, when he opened his eyes, he had already exploded and quickly recovered. Without such a treasure, even Su Yu would have to spend some time. At this moment, Zhang Kuei was flustered and exasperated. F***ck. How could there be a time during a big battle where one would crazily eat treasures to restore one's physical body? This was illogical. Where did Su Yu get so many treasures? He was almost going crazy from anger. If this continued, Su Yu might not be able to kill him. However, he could feel that his strength had slipped a little. As for Su Yu, he continued to dawdle. He needed at least 2 drops. One drop was activated, and the other was devoured. Even now, his injuries were not light. That was not important. With money, he could recover quickly. He was waiting for the second drop of blood essence to condense. He needed some time. He needed to continue creating injuries for the other party. He needed to bleed out at least 1/10 of the blood in his body before he could create blood essence. Of course, blood essence was an endless thing. If one didn't die, one could continue to produce blood essence. However, it would damage one's foundation and body. For example, the great demons that Hong Tan had raised back then had been extracting blood and selling it. In fact, their foundations had been damaged, and their strength had yet to recover to its peak. This was the result of Su Yu's flame of inheritance repairing them a few times. Shattering mountains and seas. Suppressing the sun and moon. Invincible battle. At this moment, Su Yu had finished punching. He began to kick and eat lotus roots at the same time. This battle style made everyone else want to vomit blood. Even Madwa, who was half dead from the beating, wanted to vomit blood. He could not help but shout, "Can you give me some?" His injuries were very serious. At this moment, he was pulled into the river of time by young Ark. He was in the river of time, constantly returning to the moment before Madwa swallowed the blood essence to kill him. Back then, Madwa was very weak. The distance wasn't too long now. However, it was still extremely difficult to control time for a quasi-invincible. Young Ark tried several times but failed. Instead, he was stabbed through by Modwa's spear. Young Ark was so angry that he was blasted away. He couldn't even be bothered to return to time. This thing could be used by a quasi-invincible, but it was too difficult for him to use it, especially against Modwa. He had failed several times and had suffered a huge blow to his vitality. However, if he really succeeded, it would be too easy for a quasi-invincible to kill mountains and seas. The last battlefield was in the book. At that moment, Xian Wuji and the others unleashed their full strength to kill those phantoms. Xian Wuji said coldly, "Su Yu, jump out. You're dead for sure. Give us a moment, we must kill him." Boom! He destroyed one giant beast with one punch. More than half of the 300 giant beasts had been killed. Soon. He was also extremely shocked. What a powerful treasure. As for Tai He, as he fought, he frantically transmitted his voice, "Your Highness, we must seize this treasure. That book spine is a carrier, a carrier. Not only that, this space is so powerful. It must have fused with a carrier as well." He wasn't the only one who could see it. In fact, everyone could almost see it. They were so envious of this book that they were about to die. If this book was sold, it would have at least 3 carriers. That was because there were at least 2 carriers in it. It was 2F** King Rich. Su Yu was a madman. No wonder they couldn't break this book even with the sun and moon. With so many treasures in it, even if Invincible saw it, he would still come and snatch it. Dao Cheng was also shocked. He could see it too. However, at this moment, he wasn't in the mood to snatch the treasure. He quickly sent a voice transmission. "Hurry up and kill Su Yu. We'll have everything." Tai He wasn't too anxious. He's not Zhang Kuei's match. Give us a little more time, and we'll be able to kill our way out. If we join forces, we'll kill him instantly. I'm not at ease. As they spoke, 7 or 8 sun and moon behemoths charged at them. The 2 of them hurriedly began to kill. These things were very annoying. Some of the behemoths had been killed until their levels dropped. They had become mountains and seas, yet they were still charging at them. Extremely annoying. As for Su Yu, he was still dawdling. He wasn't dawdling. It was just that he needed more time. Give me some more time. The second drop of blood essence was still being collected. Zhang Kuei's bleeding speed was too slow. At this moment, Zhang Kuei also felt that something was amiss. Up until now, he had been somewhat weak, but he was still within his limits. However, there was no blood in the air. The battle was too intense, and he hadn't paid much attention to it before. However, at this moment, he felt somewhat uneasy. "Su Yu, you're absorbing my blood." He roared angrily, "Right?" Seeing that he had discovered it, Su Yu didn't say anything else. The blood word divine script instantly erupted and began to extract his blood directly from the wound. Zhang Kuei roared angrily, and suddenly tore through the void, smashing towards Su Yu's head. Boom! At this moment, it was a true melee. The 2 exchanged over 1,000 moves in the void. Su Yu did not care about anything else. He just wanted to suck blood. Suck it. Boom! Su Yu was sent flying by Zhang Kuei's punch. He spat out a mouthful of blood and quickly ate the lotus root. On the other side, Modwa Na once again roared, "Lend me some." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2606, Chapter 2606, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 3. Chapter 2606, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 3. Idiot, take it. What if it's taken away? Madonna was speechless. That was true. Even so, Suyu still threw out over 100 crystal-clear lotus seeds and shouted, "Take a few and quickly recover." Madonna was overjoyed and quickly snatched the lotus seeds. Young Ark, on the other hand, snorted coldly. Looking down on me? He wasn't the only one. Even Zhang Kuei, who was severely injured, was instantly delighted. What a great treasure! With just one look, one could tell that it was worth quite a lot. It should be one with the lotus root, and its aura should come from the same source. This was something that quasi-invincibility could still see. The lotus root was a healing treasure. This was something that they could clearly see. Suyu's body exploded. After eating a segment of the lotus root, he instantly recovered. To let Suyu eat such a treasure like this, it was truly a waste. Zhang Kuei instantly tore through the void and grabbed at those lotus seeds. As for Madwa Na, he also caught a few and was shocked when he saw this. Why are you throwing them around? Suyu cursed loudly. F***ck, didn't you want them? You don't have the ability to intercept them. What do you want? F***ck. Suyu was flustered and exasperated. Out of the hundreds of lotus seeds, Madwa Na had seized 4 or 5. The young Ark opened the time passage and seized more than half of them in an instant, once again restricting Madwa Na. As for the rest, Suyu and Zhang Kuei hurriedly seized them. Suyu had seized more than 10 lotus seeds. The remaining 30 or so had all fallen into Zhang Kuei's hands. Suyu was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. Madwa Na, you piece of trash, F***ck. He was furious. Zhang Kuei did not care about that. He had lost quite a bit of his blood. At this moment, he was overjoyed. He laughed loudly and swallowed all the lotus seeds in one gulp. He laughed loudly and said, "Suyu, thank you very much, you idiot." On the other side, young Ark also swallowed half of the lotus seeds. He was also extremely happy. This thing was obviously a treasure. A supreme treasure. There was no need to verify anything because it was the same aura as Suyu's lotus root. As for Suyu, at this moment, he kept snorting coldly and was exasperated. Suyu, the #1 liar in the world, you guys actually don't remember? This is too infuriating. This is too much of a bully. Haven't I, Suyu, lied to you guys enough? As for Madwa Na, he ate all the lotus seeds in one bite. Suyu couldn't be bothered with it. He only ate 4 or 5 of them. There was a high probability that they wouldn't die from the poison, right? Madwa Na didn't eat them, so they couldn't be trusted. As for Madwa Na not knowing that they were poisoned, this had nothing to do with Suyu. It was his bad luck to be poisoned to death. If he were to die after eating 4 or 5 of them, then Zhang Kuei and young Ark would both die. If they were so poisonous, then they would all be poisoned to death. Suyu could just collect the corpses together. At this moment, young Ark, Zhang Kuei, and Madwa Na did not dare to think that Suyu would poison them to death. After all, Madwa Na was still in the same camp as him. If Madwa Na had eaten it, what would happen to them if they ate it? Zhang Kuei ate so many lotus seeds in one bite and laughed loudly. He felt a surge of energy rising in his body. His injuries were about to recover. Just as he was thinking about it, his expression suddenly changed. Poochie. A mouthful of tainted blood spewed out. Following that, a large amount of black gas rose from his body. It's poisonous. Zhang Kuei was extremely stunned. It's poisonous. You gave something poisonous to Madwa. On the other side, Madwa's head was also emitting black smoke. At this moment, he was also coughing up blood. He looked at Suyu with a face full of shock. You poison me. As for young Ark, as he coughed up blood, his aura fluctuated and even the river of time was cut off. Suyu shouted, "What are you looking at? I didn't poison you to death. Quick, suppress that fellow. He's poisoned even deeper than you." Mo Duo Na couldn't be bothered to think any further as he swiftly charged towards young Ark. However, his heart was filled with an inexplicable sorrow. He was truly seeking the skin of a tiger. Suyu was such a ruthless person. Even if he were to poison all of them to death, he wouldn't even blink. He was truly ruthless. As for Zhang Kuei, at this moment, he was being poisoned to the point of wanting to die. However, the toxicity of these lotus seeds didn't seem to be too strong. A few dozen of them had only caused him to bleed from his 7 orifices, causing his aura to fluctuate, and his body to rot. Bad evaluation. Suyu cursed in his heart. It wasn't much. One of them was enough to poison a first-level Sun-Moon expert to death. At most, it would be like this. A few dozen of them had only weakened Zhang Kuei's strength by 30%. Trash. Of course, Zhang Kuei, whose strength had been greatly reduced, was being rapidly suppressed by Suyu. He was on the verge of death as blood continuously gushed out. Suyu felt that he didn't need any quasi-invincible combat strength to deal with this idiot. I can kill him right now. And as Zhang Kuei spurted blood, the blood word divine script absorbed more blood. The second drop of blood essence was about to form. Zhang Kuei roared, and raged. In civilization, the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm also became anxious. Zhang Kuei was an idiot. Alright, no one thought too much about it just now. Who the hell would have thought that the holy thing would be poison? Just like that bastard Suyu, it looked reliable, but in reality, its heart was black. He didn't even care if Modwa was poisoned to death. To think that everyone was just thinking that Suyu was really good to Modwa. That healing treasure cost over 101 throw. So this bastard's heart was black. If it was all snatched away by Modwa, wouldn't Modwa be poisoned to death? Alright, thinking about it carefully, it seemed like Modwa wouldn't be able to take it all away. This bastard, during the great battle, he still had the mind to scheme against all living things. Were all civilized masters this bad? In the distant void, Modwa didn't have the heart to think about such things. He didn't eat much, and at this moment, he was spewing blood while wielding his spear to slaughter young Ark. Young Ark had also eaten quite a bit. In any case, it was much more than him. At this moment, his aura was also fluctuating. Even the river of time couldn't be opened. He was spewing blood continuously, and he roared furiously, "Hurry up. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories." Chapter 2607, Chapter 2607, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 4. Chapter 2607, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 4. His 2 bodies were about to be separated. But once they were separated, he might not be able to defeat Madonna. Xian Wuji and the others were too slow. So many people were actually trapped by Suyu's book. Also, he was really stupid to actually go and snatch Suyu's treasure. This was great. He could still suppress Madonna initially, but now, his aura was unstable and the poison was taking effect. He was about to explode from anger. Boom! A heaven-shaking saber light lit up. Suyu's saber slashed down, causing Zhang Kuei to spit out blood. He was sent flying and crashed into the wall of the hall. A loud boom resounded throughout the hall. As for Suyu, he took the opportunity to swallow a drop of Zhang Kuei's blood essence. He had to open the atlas first. He panted. Not to mention the quasi-invincible blood essence, he did not feel much pressure now. After all, he could already fight with the other party. A drop of blood essence was still bearable. In an instant, the golden atlas in his mind shook, and in an instant, a new page was opened. Race, incipient demon race, half-step eternal. Sure enough, the page was opened. Su Yu raised his head and looked in that direction, smiling. You're all finished. He still had a drop of essence blood, and after killing Zhang Kuei, he could at least extract a lot more drops. Very good. At this moment, Wen Mingji was suddenly put away by Su Yu. Xian Wuji and the others were all stunned. Seeing that they were about to kill all those giant beasts, Su Yu actually put it away. As for Su Yu, he was holding a book in his hand, and his face was full of heartache. 109. He held the book in his left hand, and his right hand trembled as he pointed at those people. His face was unsightly, and he was extremely angry. My Dao-achieving soldier almost fell to a lower realm. He was furious. He was really furious. How many people did I kill before my civilized will advance to 110 golden patterns? Now, it had fallen. It had really fallen down one golden pattern and collapsed. At this moment, Zhang Kuei and the others were overjoyed. Zhang Kuei, Tai He, the 5 9th-level Sun-Moon cultivators, and Xian Wuji, the 8 geniuses, instantly surrounded Su Yu. In the sky, Maduo's expression changed. This was big trouble. Was Su Yu no longer a match for the other party? As for Su Yu, at this moment, his heart really ached. He sighed, looks like only if all of you enter the book to fill in the gaps will you be able to make up for my losses. With a sigh, Su Yu said regretfully, I'll send all of you on your way. At this moment, a drop of blood essence was swallowed by him. At this moment, Su Yu felt something different. He saw something that he couldn't see originally. He seemed to have seen time flowing. Time had always been flowing, but it was only a concept in the past. At this moment, he seemed to see it. He also saw an incomparably huge river of time. It wasn't his, but something that existed in any space-time. Quasi-invincible. An existence that came into contact with the time domain. At this moment, Su Yu borrowed the essence blood and stepped into the time domain temporarily, entering the quasi-invincible domain. At this moment, his young aperture absorbed the aura of death much faster. Su Yu didn't care anymore, he couldn't care anymore. He could only pray that Xingyue was fine. At this moment, Xingyue's expression also changed drastically. However, he roared, quick, input, he's resisting. He's resisting violently, he's struggling. Suppress him, quickly input the aura of death. The group of undead lords were also moved. What a strong absorption force. Who did this Xingyue transform into? So powerful. Su Yu had entered the quasi-invincible state. The absorption speed of his young aperture was much stronger than that of a normal quasi-invincible state. At this moment, the absorption speed was astonishingly fast. If it was only Xingyu alone, perhaps she would have been paralyzed by Su Yu's suction force. Fortunately, at this moment, a total of 8 necromancer lords had injected death aura into her, which made Xingyu secretly happy. What the F***ck are you sucking? Suck. Suck you to death, you bastard. She was afraid of this bastard strength. It was too terrifying. If she had known earlier, I wouldn't have come. Even if I were to get out now, I might not have the strength to kill him even if I was sucked by him and no one supported me. It was too terrifying. Xingyue even wanted to go back. She didn't want to stay any longer. She was scared out of her wits by being sucked by Su Yu here. Once she was seen through by the undead, everyone would eat her up. An extremely weak undead sovereign was like a piece of fat meat. What on earth are you doing? Xingyue prayed in her heart and quickly stopped. I can't take it anymore. If you continue like this, everyone will suspect me. In the martial arts hall. At this moment, Su Yu's aura was incomparably powerful. At this moment, he had become the strongest person in the hall. Su Yu smiled. His smile was incomparably brilliant, and the holy light was brilliant. It was as if a saint had descended. Everyone, many thanks. Su Yu smiled and kicked out, shattering the mountains and seas. Time. At this moment, he somewhat understood the power of this cultivation technique. The king of silkworm extermination still had a few tricks up his sleeve. This cultivation technique was not suitable for ordinary people, but was suitable for quasi-invincibility. This involved the time domain. With a kick, everyone felt their vision blur, as if they had returned to just a moment ago. Even Zhang Kuei took a step back, and the other geniuses were sent flying back to their previous positions. As for Su Yu, he instantly appeared in front of a person. With a smile, he opened up a page and instantly included that genius within. A 9th-level sun-moon cultivator beside him let out a shrill howl and charged towards Su Yu. Su Yu kicked out once more, sending him flying back. Time seemed to be passing by. Su Yu sighed deeply. The Silkworm King wasn't weak at all. Incredible. At this moment, I finally understood the true meaning of this cultivation technique. He was only devouring people, and he hadn't killed anyone yet. Once these people entered his book, they wouldn't be able to escape. Their physical bodies and blood essence were instantly devoured, leaving behind only their sea of consciousness to prevent the appearance of the undead. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2608, Chapter 2608, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 5. Chapter 2608, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 5. Su Yu once again appeared on top of a genius's head in an instant. As the book enveloped him, the other party fiercely resisted. Even a heavenly weapon was instantly suppressed by Su Yu and was grabbed into the book. What are you struggling for? In the distance, the expressions of Tai He and the others changed drastically. They brought the geniuses they were protecting and flew towards the throne of the Great Hall, wanting to open the door and escape from this place. However, Su Yu's speed was too fast at this moment. His blood essence had increased and time was involved, so his speed had also increased. He took a step forward and grabbed Tai He. With a loud roar, Tai He's body was crushed by him, and the pages of the book appeared in an instant, devouring everything about him. And Dao Cheng had instantly escaped. Su Yu smiled. Can you escape? On the other side, Zhang Kuei roared, don't run, kill him. The 9th layer of the Sun-Moon realm didn't dare to delay. They regrouped with Zhang Kuei and quickly charged towards Su Yu. Dao Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. Su Yu was right behind him, but the others were charging over. Just as he was thinking, Su Yu's faint laughter sounded, you think I won't kill you? Wrong, I think you're a great threat. You'd better enter my book. Dao Cheng roared, and an extremely powerful divine text instantly appeared. He was actually about to step into the Sun-Moon divine text realm. When this divine text appeared, Su Yu's vision blurred. It was as if he saw the future, saw his own tragic death, and saw many things. Bang! Su Yu punched the half-destroyed divine text and instantly absorbed the remaining fragments into his sea of consciousness. He smiled and said, good divine text, you don't deserve it. With a PFFT, Dao Cheng's body exploded, and he was instantly stuffed into the book. His sea of consciousness was suppressed in the blink of an eye. Things were good things, but you were too weak and didn't deserve it. Even if you had it, it would be useless. No. Dao Cheng's desperate roar sounded. I know many secrets. Su Yu, don't kill me. Su Yu smiled and sealed everything. Don't kill you. Fine, wait until I take everything away, then I'll kill you slowly. Or I'll let Harry Ball eat you. Will it be good for you? In an instant, Su Yu captured 3 geniuses and 1 9th-level Sun-Moon realm expert. The others were all terrified. Xian Wuji even roared, Su Yu, are you going to fight to the death with the immortals? Su Yu was stunned for a moment before he smiled and said, "If I remember correctly, Tian-gu has given the order. Isn't it going to be a fight to the death?" He had a dazed look on his face as he said in a daze, "Is Tian-gu talking nonsense?" It was too funny. Xian Wuji was stunned and speechless. In the next moment, he instantly appeared in front of Zhang Kuei. This time, it was no longer a battle. Su Yu roared, "Split open the sky. Seal the mountain." Zhan Wudi. Loud rumbling sounds continued. After forcefully attacking for a while, Zhang Kuei's body exploded. Seeing that Zhang Kuei was about to go all out, Su Yu suddenly backhanded and punched a 9th-level Sun Moon Realm warrior, causing him to vomit blood. His body exploded and Su Yu kicked out. After his physical body exploded, the pages of the book fell and instantly devoured the other party. Zhang Kuei was so frightened that he quickly fled, but Su Yu was not in a hurry. He could not force the other party too quickly. Otherwise, Zhang Kuei, who was almost invincible, might still have a fatal blow. He had to give the other party a chance to survive. As for Su Yu, he swiftly harvested the others. One genius after another was harvested by him in the blink of an eye, suppressed into civilization. Out of the 8 geniuses, in the blink of an eye, only Xian Wuji was left. As for the 9th layer of the Sun Moon, there were 5 from before, but now there was only 1 left. He had joined up with Zhang Kuei and Xian Wuji. The 3 of them had looks of despair on their faces. High in the sky, young Ark had already gone crazy and was crazily attacking Modwa. Modwa had lost half of his body, but he did not give in at all. He roared angrily, "Su Yu, speed, I can't hold on anymore." Since he had said that he wanted to delay his opponent, then he would not let his opponent participate in the battle. This was the pride of a genius. But Su Yu, this fellow was not flustered at all. This made Modwa very depressed. In the distance, Zhang Kuei's expression completely changed. "I'll fight it out with you." At this moment, his chi and blood surged. He even had the intention to self-destruct. Su Yu, who was suppressing him, slowed down slightly. In the next moment, Zhang Kuei punched out, shattering the Sun Moon 9th layer beside him into pieces. Even the opponent's sea of consciousness was directly shattered. Boom! A full moon crashed, and in an instant, an incomparably powerful quasi-invincible Sun Moon undead spirit suddenly appeared in the hall. A 9th-level Sun Moon Realm undead spirit had died. Zhang Kuei said angrily, "Su Yu, don't force us. Otherwise, once we die, an invincible undead spirit will appear." As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yu threw out over 100 ancient city tokens. The quasi-invincible undead seemed to have some intelligence. He looked at Su Yu and said mechanically, "Not enough." How greedy. Su Yu couldn't help but laugh. After throwing out another dozens of ancient city tokens, the quasi-invincible undead was satisfied and instantly disappeared. Zhang Kuei roared crazily. Damn it, how could this work? He hadn't tried it before because he didn't have that many ancient city tokens. As for Xian Wuji, his expression changed drastically as he roared, "Young Ark, go, quickly take me away." It was over. He was completely unable to match up to Su Yu. As for Su Yu, he chuckled and said, "You guys, you've wasted too many of my treasures." After saying this, the book flew towards Xian Wuji's barrier. However, he himself instantly charged towards Zhang Kuei. Zhang Kuei roared, "I self-destructed and an invincible undead appeared." The invincible undead have intelligence. They won't be bribed by you, and the ancient city token is also useless. At this moment, he could only use suicide to threaten Su Yu. Su Yu had yet to destroy someone else's sea of consciousness, which meant that he was also worried. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2609, Chapter 2609, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 6. Chapter 2609, Chapter 558, The Terrifying Madonna. 6. They were worried about the appearance of a necromancer lord. Su Yu, let me go, I won't care about any of your matters anymore. He begged, let me go, or I'll self-destruct. Really, Su Yu, I'm dead, a necromancer lord has appeared, everyone has to die, I'm almost invincible, there will definitely be a necromancer lord. In the sky, young Ark also roared, Su Yu, Madonna, you've already killed so many people. Let us go, and we swear that we won't reveal everything. Otherwise, if Zhang Kuei and I die, there might be 2 invincible necromancers. Can you stop them? This was also a problem. A very serious problem. The invincible necromancers might not recognize the ancient city token. Even if they did, would Su Yu still have so many ancient city tokens? Su Yu laughed instead. As for me, I still like to gamble. I bet that you don't dare to self-detonate. At least, with me, you can still leave behind a sea of will and have a chance of survival, right? In the next moment, he instantly appeared in front of Zhang Kuei and punched out. Boom! Zhang Kuei couldn't withstand it. His body exploded and blood splattered everywhere. He roared, no, I dare. Don't force me. Su Yu, don't force me. Su Yu, on the other hand, was absorbing the aura of death and was fluctuating. He wanted to ask, if Xingyue could come out. If she came out, Xingyue would come out. I have a way to deal with Xingyue. If Xingyue didn't come out, if it was another undead sovereign, he would disguise himself as a dead spirit. He didn't know if it would be useful. Rules. Su Yu thought to himself, everything has rules. Killing people and the appearance of dead spirits are the rules. How can I prevent the undead sovereign from killing me? In the ancient city, everything would be eliminated after 3 days. He didn't know what was going on here. But at this moment, Madwa suddenly said, don't worry, I have a way. Since I chose to act here, I'm naturally prepared. Su Yu didn't dare to completely believe him. He was still using the death aura fluctuation to contact Xingyue. Come out later, come out to kill me later. At this moment, Xingyue felt that special fluctuation frequency. The other undead sovereign lords didn't care, but Xingyue did. She understood Su Yu's meaning. Her eyes were frighteningly cold. Was he provoking me? Yes, he was provoking me. He was going too far. She suddenly stood up and said sternly, I'm going out later. The guy I'm controlling will soon listen to my orders and kill a quasi-invincible one. I'm going out to issue some orders to him. The other undead monarchs were suddenly overjoyed. The conversion is successful. It's still a little short, but it's almost done. I'll go out and personally convert him. All right then, since we can follow your orders, then we're indeed going to be there soon. The undead spirits were overjoyed. We can go out now. As for Xingyue, she snorted coldly in her heart. A bunch of idiots, just you wait. Go out my *SS. Damn you, Su Yu, I'm not done with you. She had to go out and hide from the limelight. Otherwise, if Su Yu continued to suck on her, she would also be worried that something would go wrong. If she went out, Su Yu would not go so far as to kill her. That fellow was still unwilling to let her die. He did not have the source of the aura of death anymore. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. I really have to rely on this bastard to survive. I'm so angry. Very soon, through the aura of death, Xingyue gave a positive answer. Wait for me to go out and kill you. In the main hall, Su Yu instantly laughed. Yo! He really came out. That was amazing. If a monarch came out, then nothing else could come out. This was the rule, unless there were a few more invincible ones. Also, if Xingyue came out, she could help me kill Yang Arc. In front of him, Zhang Kuei roared, "Don't force me, Su Yu, I'm really going to self-detonate." "Go ahead and detonate." "I'm really going to detonate." "Go ahead and detonate, you're almost invincible, why are you talking so much nonsense? If you don't detonate, I'll kill you." Su Yu punched out again, causing Zhang Kuei's bones to explode. Zhang Kuei could no longer bear such humiliation. With a boom, he flew towards Su Yu and self-detonated on the spot. "You forced me." Zhang Kuei's mournful voice sounded. At this moment, a great sun had fallen. "I didn't want to self-destruct, but you insisted on forcing me. Su Yu, let's die together." Su Yu quickly retreated. At this moment, in the main hall, an invincible undead spirit slowly appeared. Modwa was just about to attack when Su Yu, who was far away, laughed and said, "My dear lord, I missed you so much. You've finally come out." Silence. At this moment, Zhang Kuei's lingering thoughts were still there. With endless doubt and unwillingness, he looked at the death spirit sovereign wearing a cloak. Xingyue's face was cold. "Su Yu, are you provoking me?" "No, my dear lord. We're on the same side. How could we provoke him?" Su Yu laughed and said, "Lord, this immortal must be invincible to bully me. If you kill him, you're bullying me too much. You're not giving Lord any face." Yang Arc and Modwa were stunned. F***CK. F***CK. The sovereign of the dead spirit had hooked up with Su Yu. And this was the Starry Sky Mansion. How did he hook up with him? He was truly stunned. As for Zhang Kuei's remnant thoughts, when he saw that the sovereign of the dead spirit really did not attack Su Yu, at this moment, with endless unwillingness, endless regret, and endless madness, it completely dissipated. "I'm not willing." If it was anyone else, they would also be unable to accept it. Modwa's mouth was wide open, and Yang Arc's eyes were about to go blind. In the next moment, the moon and stars rushed towards Yang Arc. "I can't let others see my shameful appearance." The rules were that she could now kill people and kill everything she saw. "So, I have to kill this fellow and keep it a secret." With a puff, the aura of death instantly covered Yang Arc. Yang Arc completely collapsed. He shouted in despair, "No, no, the sovereign of the dead spirit. Yes, my dear lord. How dare you?" Xingyue was furious. "What are you calling me? I will kill you, for sure." Only Su Yu could shout that because she couldn't do anything to Su Yu. But this bastard actually dared to call me that. He was humiliating a great sovereign of the dead spirit. Pfft. The cape cut off the river of time, and the aura of death covered the sky and earth. The sun arc that was struck by the star-moon palm almost turned into a undead. 7 or 8 palm strikes in a row, and with a loud boom, the sun arc's body exploded. At this moment, Su Yu quickly said, "Don't, give me the Sea of Will." He quickly went forward and kept the ball into the book. As for Xian Wuji, he had already kept it in. At this moment, beside him, Modwa Na's sweat dripped down. This was the first time in my life that I was so terrified. This was the first time in my life that I had met a living person who flirted with a necromancer sovereign. The key was that the necromancer sovereign had really helped Su Yu defeat a quasi-invincible opponent. Did I discover some incredible secret? I seemed like I was about to be silenced. At this moment, Madonna's sweat dripped down. On the other side, Su Yu collected his Sea of Will and stood side by side with the moon and stars. For a moment, Madonna thought of many things and wanted to scream in fear. Could humans and undead also hook up? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2610, Chapter 2610, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu Wanginging requests a subscription, L. Chapter 2610, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu Wanginging requests a subscription, L. Yang Arc had been destroyed. At this moment, there were only 3 people left in the hall. Su Yu stood by Xing Yu's side and smiled. Sir, kill this guy along the way so that the myriad clans won't know that we are colluding. Xing Yu suddenly looked at Su Yu with a cold gaze. Who was colluding with you? No one. Are you ordering me? Xing Yu was furious. Su Yu hurriedly coughed and bowed, My respected lord, please kill this person. In case the myriad clans know that you and I are close, I am your most intimate subordinate. Xing Yu snorted, and Madona's sweat dripped down. In the next moment, he hurriedly said, Wait. He knew it. This fellow, Su Yu, was really a ruthless person. He would not let him off easily. If he had the opportunity to kill someone, how could Su Yu be polite to him? Maudwa hurriedly took out a drop of incomparably dark blood. He hurriedly said, Respected undead sovereign, this is the treasure that I have provided to the sovereign this time. Please abide by the ancient rules and leave after taking the treasure. Su Yu looked in that direction and was extremely surprised. It was a drop of blood that was as black as ink. However, it was emitting a faint aura of death and seemed somewhat different from the blood essence of the undead. This was Maudwa's trump card. Su Yu cursed in his heart. What was this? Xing Yu looked at the blood and after a moment, she frowned and said, Blood of death. Where did you get it? Mordor was surprised. Shouldn't you leave after taking the thing? You're a dead spirit and you want to gossip. Fine, I'll live under someone else's roof, he still said immediately, Sir, this is a drop of the blood of death that the previous half-emperor of the demon race brought back when he entered the dead spirit realm. According to the ancient rules, if you take this blood essence, you can't kill me. Yes, the rules. The rules here were slightly different from those outside. Simply put, the dead souls here recognized money. If he gave the ancient city token, the other party could leave. If he gave other treasures, the dead souls would not care about ordinary things, and they did not have intelligence either. Only the sovereign of the dead souls had intelligence. They would take some treasures and choose to exchange them at the same price. Then, the transaction could be completed. Maudwa had lured people here to kill them, and he was actually prepared for the appearance of the undead sovereign. Therefore, he had been prepared beforehand. Xing Yue looked at the blood essence and was somewhat eager to agree. As for Su Yu, he said faintly, Lord, if you take the things, you have to leave. I think it's better to forget it. Lord has seriously injured him. If the rules don't allow you to take it, I can beat him to death, take the treasures, and then give it to Lord. Xing Yu suddenly understood. That's right. Maudwa's sweat dripped down once again. He looked at Su Yu, what the F***ck. He had made all the preparations, but he did not expect Su Yu to be familiar with the undead sovereign. The key was that it was not just familiar, but very familiar. It was so familiar that the undead sovereign seemed to have a lot to do with him. That's right, the rules still had some restrictions. If you offered the treasure, the undead would have to obey the rules and leave in exchange, just like the almost invincible undead from before. But at this moment, Su Yu was here. The sweat on Maudwa's forehead dripped down again. It wasn't because he was afraid, well, it was a little bit too. The key was that this was destroying his worldview. Any random sovereign was actually Su Yu's man. 10,000 fire dolphins were running wildly in his heart. At this moment, he hurriedly said, Wait. Su Yu, I'm looking for you to cooperate. It's good for you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have looked for you. Look at me. After discovering your identity, I didn't look for you to make trouble. He was very proud and arrogant. His faint arrogance was different from Su Yu's. He was arrogant and arrogant. He disregarded everything. Not many people in the world could enter his eyes. Therefore, even if he killed people, he would only kill those who were stronger than him. He would rarely kill those who were weak. He was arrogant and arrogant. He had the right to do so. He wasn't too afraid of death and wasn't willing to lower his head to others. However, the other party was Su Yu. Yes, Su Yu. A person younger than him, stronger than him, more arrogant than him, and more talented than him. He had escaped death time and time again. He had risen from adversity time and time again. Time and time again, the human race could not protect him. He saved himself. He went to find help. He went to rope in backers. He found many invincible, many half-emperors, and even dead souls. All the worlds in the universe were trying to kill him, but they could not kill him. He was like a god who could not be killed. He stood up again and again, rising again and again. He killed those who bullied him and wanted to kill him again and again. Therefore, Modwo was convinced of Su Yu. They were not even convinced of being invincible. You are invincible, and I will be invincible sooner or later. If you can't kill me today, then I will kill you sooner or later. However, faced with the peerless evildoer of the same generation, Madona's feelings were different. Therefore, at this moment, he lowered his head and hurriedly said, Su Yu, I am very serious about cooperating with you. He looked at Su Yu, but Su Yu did not say anything. Xingyue suddenly flew into a rage. He, actually did not beg himself, but went to beg Su Yu. What did he mean by this? Looking down on me? He still didn't put me in his eyes. Xingyue flew into a rage and slapped at him. Mordor was shocked. What happened? Did I offend you? My lord, the blood of death. Mordor hurriedly retreated and didn't forget to remind Xingyue that he had taken out a treasure. It was in accordance with the rules. You can exchange it for a treasure and leave. The great sovereign of the dead will not be bound by these things. Star Moon was furious, berated A, but is somewhat reluctant to part with. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2611, Chapter 2611, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu, Wandinging requests to subscribe, 2. Chapter 2611, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu, Wandinging requests to subscribe, 2. Su Yu, however, did not care. He smiled and said, Sir, it's fine if you beat him to death. Even if Sir is restricted by the rules and cannot take away the treasure, I'm still here. I can pick up the corpse. Modwa Na was about to go crazy. He knew that the key was still Su Yu. He hurriedly shouted, Su Yu, there are benefits, huge benefits. I know how to snatch the 9-leafed sky lotus. Oh, tell me. First, ask this lord to stop. Su Yu berated, you dare to raise conditions. What kind of person do you think my lord is? Can I ask lord to stop? Lord Xingyue will naturally judge and weigh everything. How can I be in charge? You bastard, how dare you insult? Lord! Lord, he deserves to be killed. Xingyue was originally a little unhappy. Su Yu said that if I don't kill him, I won't kill him. Then, do I not care about my face? At this moment, hearing Su Yu say this, she felt a little better. She snorted coldly, there's no need for you to point fingers. I have my own judgment. Su Yu hurriedly said, Sir is right. Sir is right. He could finally see that this fool Xingyue was easy to get rid of, but she needed face. Don't keep giving her face. How inappropriate. Perhaps. I still need the help of the great sovereign. Modwa heaved a sigh of relief because Xingyue had stopped. At this moment, he was sweating profusely and hurriedly said, Su Yu, can we go out and talk? This place is not a good place to talk. Su Yu smiled and said, no, it's a good place. The Lord has appeared. This residence seems to be sealed. How long will it take to enter this place? Also, this place is sealed off only by being invincible. It's even more troublesome than the outside world. The sun and moon outside will do. Thinking of this, Suyu was stunned for a moment before saying, "That's right, seal the residence." Then, the opening of the 9-leafed heavenly lotus, won't I? He suddenly looked at Xingyu. Mo Duo immediately knew what he was thinking and quickly said, "It won't work. The opening of the 9-leafed heavenly lotus will break through all the restrictions, including the seal. This is because this has something to do with time. Time is not affected by the restrictions of the imperial residence. Therefore, Suyu planned to have Xingyu seal the city. His plan to snatch the treasure easily would be foiled in an instant. Mo Duo wiped his sweat again. He had to speak quickly. Otherwise, Suyu felt that there was no need to keep him here. He would definitely kill him. This fellow was just so realistic. Since he wanted to work together with Suyu, he more or less had some understanding. At this moment, Xingyu said coldly, "That's right. Also, Suyu, don't even think about me helping you. Impossible. I am the great sovereign of the undead, and you are just one of the half-undead that I have transformed into." Suyu said perfunctorily, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. There's nothing wrong with what Sir said. A great sovereign all day long, what was there to be great about? If he was truly great, he wouldn't have died." And at this moment, Madhwa Na suddenly realized something and was shocked. This was Suyu's transformed sovereign. Damn! This. What did this mean? He didn't take Xingyue's words seriously. He was thinking of a problem. Xingyue had risked everything to come here from the ancient city of Hongxing just to help Suyu. Damn it! How terrifying was this? A sovereign of the dead spirit had traveled across mountains and rivers. He knew that the dead spirit realm was still very dangerous. A sovereign would be killed even if he traveled across countless realms. And this sovereign of Suyu had come personally. Just to save Suyu. Perhaps this time, in order to come out, he had fought a great battle with the sovereign of the dead spirit here. The sovereign had a sense of territory. If not for this, how could Xingyue come out? At this moment, Madhwa thought too much. A short sentence, he could already think of a series of big dramas. Xingyue, Suyu, in order to save Suyu in the past, Xingyue had converted him into a half-dead spirit. After that, she had been protecting Suyu. Perhaps Suyu was bearing the aura of death and had asked the stone sculpture to help him. It was all related to Xingyue. No wonder. No wonder Suyu could transform into a dead spirit. No wonder Suyu had the aura of death, but he could not die no matter what. So that was the case. This time, he had crossed the boundary to look for Suyu. Madhwa Na was almost moved. If it wasn't for Suyu being too cruel and the star moon being too terrifying, he would have at least said a few words and wished him a few blessings. What a great love! Even a demon like him yearned for it. At this moment, Madhwa Na looked at the two of them with some envy, some emotion, and that gaze was too complicated. A love that transcended races. No, a love that transcended life and death. He had encountered a love that transcended races before. A love that transcended life and death was hard to find in millions of years. Suyu looked at Madhwa Na in a daze. What was this idiot doing? That gaze was so complicated. Why are you looking at us like that? Are you afraid? Or what? Xingyu also looked at Madhwa Na coldly. She did not like that gaze. Although it did not seem malicious, it carried an indescribable feeling that made her feel uncomfortable. Fortunately, Madhwa Na woke up very quickly. He finally returned to normal and looked at Suyu. He took a deep breath and said, "Suyu, don't keep thinking about killing me. It's no harm for you if I'm alive. I don't have any malicious intentions towards you either, you won't gain anything by killing me. Su Yu sneered, benefit for me? Do you think that I won't be able to take the 9-leafed sky lotus if I leave you? What a joke. My methods are beyond your imagination. Why do you think he too invaded? How do you think he too invaded the outside world? Everything you think is just a casual arrangement by me. It's just stirring up trouble. Without me, there wouldn't be so many big shows. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2612, Chapter 2612, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu Wanginging requests a subscription, 3. Chapter 2612, Chapter 559 Ruthless Su Yu Wanginging requests a subscription, 3. Madonna said calmly, I guessed it. As for Xingyue, she was stunned for a moment. F***ck. He too, you brought him here. She wanted to curse. Since you can let he too come out, why can't you let me come out? When did you hook up with he too? No, she suddenly felt a sense of crisis. What did he mean? Su Yu felt that the aura of death that he could provide him was not enough. He felt that he too was stronger than him, so, he was going to defect. He was going to defect to he too. At this moment, Xingyue suddenly became angry. Su Yu, you want to kill me? It's not that simple. I won't be killed so easily by you. Do you think that you can be at ease just because he too changed you? Impossible, he too is extremely treacherous. Su Yu was stunned, and so was Madonna. He couldn't help but whisper, when he too was alive, he seemed to be a man, forget it. A love that transcended life and death. Did he still care about this? Did the undead still care about men and women? He didn't care anymore. Su Yu probably didn't care anymore. Undead, don't think that undead are good looking. You're overthinking. The faces of undead are all black. No matter how good looking, beautiful, or moving you were when you were alive, when you turned into an undead, you would still be black. How could there be any beauty? Su Yu didn't care about this anymore. Why would he care about the relationship between a man and a woman when a dead soul was alive? Madonna felt that he had really broadened his horizons. Holy shit. Not only did he witness the complicated relationship between Su Yu and the sovereign of the dead souls, he might even have to witness the sovereign of the dead souls being jealous. This was too terrifying. It was so terrifying that he was a little afraid. Will I be killed to keep my mouth shut? I seem to know the greatest gossip in the myriad realms. At this moment, the usually calm Madonna was a little uneasy. He pretended to be calm, but I didn't hear it. I don't know. I don't know anything. Because he knew. It was too scary. He couldn't accept it. Su Yu didn't care so much. He suddenly understood what Xingyue meant and laughed. Sir, you've misunderstood. Am I that kind of person? Sir, you've really misunderstood. He too, I was just scheming against him. Everything he did was just my marionette. Is he too, that arrogant person, even worthy of becoming my lord? Only Lord Xingyue is my supreme monarch. Madonna sighed in his heart once again. Oh my God, he said such disgusting words in front of me. Is Su Yu trying to fool this pitiful undead sovereign? He's too despicable. This undead sovereign, for his sake. Madonna couldn't help but interject. Su Yu, traversing thousands of mountains and rivers from the ancient city of Xinghong, crossing countless undead realms along the way, even if this lord is powerful, I'm afraid he must have paid a heavy price. Not to mention, in order to come out and save you, I believe he must have paid a heavy price as well. Although people like us are arrogant, we can't really be cold-blooded and heartless. He still spoke up for Xingyue. We geniuses are arrogant. We may be flirtatious, we may be cold, but we are not heartless. How can you let down this sovereign of the dead spirit? Su Yu, by doing this, I am looking down on you. Madonna thought silently. If it were him, he would not be like Su Yu. What's wrong? Su Yu was speechless. He glanced at him. Are you crazy? What do you mean by coming all the way here to save me? If nothing goes wrong, Xingyue is here to watch me and kill me. You don't know a thing. Forget it. I won't tell him. It was good that he misunderstood. This way, he would be more afraid of himself. Su Yu was too lazy to say anything else. He quickly said, if you want to buy my life, you can. Simple. You fly out now and shout. Today, I, Modwa, will kill all the immortals, you take the blame. Everything can be settled. Otherwise, the manor will be sealed. Do you think you can escape? Modwa was stunned. He looked at Su Yu and could not help but say, I. Su Yu said indifferently, what's wrong? Can't do it. Hurry up and don't waste my time. Otherwise, there's no need to talk about the follow-up cooperation. Modwa, since you want to cooperate, don't you have any sincerity at all? For you, I helped you kill Zhang Kuei. Modwa smiled bitterly. If you do this, I'm afraid that I'll become mortal enemies with the immortals. You've captured Xian Wuji and Dao Cheng. These people are the most elite descendants of the current generation of the immortals. Su Yu said indifferently, if you're not prepared to become enemies with me, Su Yu, then what's the point of cooperating? It's just an immortal, and I have offended more than that. If I don't have the courage and the responsibility, why would I need a collaborator like you? I can find someone stronger than you. Modwa sighed softly. Soon, he smiled and said, that's true. I've underestimated you. Su Yu, you're indeed more ruthless, stronger, and more vicious than I imagined. After saying that, he sighed and said, really, you are more outstanding than I thought. You flatter me. Su Yu smiled faintly and said, go out and shout. No, just stand at the main entrance. Open the door and shout. There are quite a few people paying attention to this place. As for Lord Xingyue, Lord should first avoid him. Otherwise, if people find out that you are still here, they will think that Lord has left. Modwa, be quick. If you can cooperate, then cooperate. If not, don't mention anything about that. Modwa's expression changed for a moment. Very quickly, he took a deep breath and said, all right. Offending the immortals, then offending them would be fine. Su Yu, on the other hand, looked at him silently. Very quickly, he said to Xingyue, sir, if he makes any strange movements, kill him. All right.